Logic in psoriasis.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Michigan is self-imposing a 3-game suspension for football coach Jim Harbaugh to begin the 2023 season, stemming from alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. He'll miss home games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then return for the Big Ten opener against Rutgers. Following a couple of lively joint practices, the Commanders take on the Ravens in their second preseason game on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern ESPN. Lamar Jackson won't be playing tonight. This season should be a special one for Jackson and new offensive coordinator Todd Monken in Baltimore, ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark.
This team doesn't need to be one-dimensional, and I think that's the biggest thing you can get from Todd Monken. Make defensive coordinators guess, because what we knew since Lamar Jackson was a part of the Baltimore Ravens was that he was going to have the ball in his hands. He was going to be the focal point. If you stopped number 8, you had an opportunity to win. Todd Monken has to get out of that mindset, and he has the players in the skill room to do it.
Tonight's Reds-Angels game postponed due to the effects of Tropical Storm Hillary. Game will be made up as part of a doubleheader Wednesday.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Hey, Paulie, how many fingers am I holding up? Huh? How many? How many fingers?
I believe that's 2.
Hey! Paulie got new eyes. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Happy birthday to Sister Jean. She's 104. Look, it literally just popped up on the top of my X account. That's not your Twitter account. It's your X.
Hey, Twitter. Not Twitter. Hey, X world.
Happy birthday, Sister Jean. You keep on rocking the free world, lady. I love that. That's awesome. Good for you. Keep on doing the thing. It's after further review. We're glad you're with us here. The Saints beat the Chargers. Tigers had a scrimmage. Jay Johnson introduced a couple of new coaches. We got a ton to do, so let us begin exactly where we do every single day. When I remember.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, Saturday. By now you know. Media was invited along with former players, family of current players, etc., into Tiger Stadium for a scrimmage. I'll tell you everything I saw, my big takeaways. What is so interesting, though, is that we all, so we were told 10 o'clock, and so the media is there at the media gate at Tiger Stadium at 10 a.m., and about 10 a.m. is when you start to notice all the players and coaches walking over from football ops, like walking across the parking lot into Tiger Stadium. It's when you very quickly realize, yeah, they're not going to start this thing at 10 a.m. So they actually got it cranked up around 10:45, and LSU practiced for about 90 minutes, essentially the same thing that we had seen throughout fall camp. 7-on-7s, individual position group drills, special teams, all that sort of stuff. And then after about a 90-minute practice, then they went into a scrimmage, which ended up being a 43-play workout. Now, it was 45 plays, but there were 2 penalties, so if you're keeping stats, those were negated. But 43 plays, and I'll tell you, I had 3 really big takeaways from the scrimmage. Number 1 is Caleb Jackson. By now, you have heard anyone who was there talk about Caleb Jackson. We have been waiting among the 8 scholarship running backs for someone to pop, and finally, Caleb Jackson did. Now, there was no Josh Williams, no Logan Diggs, and no Armani Goodwin. But Caleb Jackson had 3 touches in the game, all with the second offense, but he had a 9-yard run, he had an 18-yard touchdown run, and a 75-yard screen pass that he broke 3 tackles, sidestepping one guy, and then just outrunning the rest of the defense, boat racing him to the end zone for a 75-yard touchdown run. We have been waiting for someone to stand up and emerge, and that him was Caleb Jackson. At least on Saturday, that was him. He was it, the guy that we've been waiting for. So I still think that Josh Williams is your number 1 back. I still think Logan Diggs is incredibly talented and going to play a key role. We saw John Emery run with the 3s, but Caleb Jackson deserves more reps. As a matter of fact, the touchdown run he had, the 18-yard touchdown run, was incredible. He broke a tackle in the backfield, bounced it left, broke another tackle, then there was a massive collision around the goal line, and he ran through LaTerrence Welch, lost his helmet, and got into the end zone. He looks like a linebacker. He runs with great speed and power. He can make you miss. Caleb Jackson, the number 1 takeaway. Anyone who is there that says anything other than Caleb Jackson is the number 1 takeaway is wrong. My number 2 biggest takeaway is Zy Alexander. The way that the scrimmage went is that the first offense went against the first defense. It was 1s on 1s, 2s on 2s, 3s on 3s. And they started at the 30-yard line, had a clock and play clock and all that sort of stuff. So 70 yards ahead of you. On the first series, they went 4 yards to Mason Taylor. Noah Cain had a 2-yard run. So you had 3rd and 4. Jaden Daniels targeted Malik Neighbors, and Zy Alexander closed, got there right as the ball got there. Pass breakup, beautiful play, 3 and out for the offense. So because it was just 3 plays, the first offense stayed out there. They went back to the 30-yard line and started a new drive. First down, 17-yard completion to Mason Taylor. So 1st and 10 now from the 47. They went back to Mason Taylor. Zy Alexander holds up Mason Taylor on the sideline, strips the football, and gets the recovery as well. We have been waiting for somebody to emerge as CB1 in that unit. Zy Alexander announced himself on Saturday. They targeted Malik Neighbors 4 times in the game. He had 1 reception in the scrimmage. Malik Neighbors did. And it wasn't a result of bad throws or drops it was good coverage. So that was really encouraging to see. Number 3, I would tell you, is Sage Ryan. My 3rd biggest takeaway is Sage Ryan for 2 reasons. We saw Sage Ryan on Saturday start at cornerback. When the first defense went out there, it was Zy Alexander and Sage Ryan at the boundary corner. We have not seen that yet. Sage has played a lot of nickel. He's played safety. First time we've seen him out on the boundary playing cornerback. And he actually came up with on the second drive for the offense, the 3rd drive for the first team offense, because the first 2 drives went 3 and out, fumble. Then the second team offense went out there and put together a 10-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. That was where you saw Caleb Jackson with the 18-yard touchdown run. They converted a 3rd and 9 on a pass from Nussmeier to Chris Hilton for 10 yards. So the second team offense scores. The first team offense goes back out, and they put together a 14-play, 65-yard touchdown. I guess it was a 70-yard touchdown drive. They just eliminated 5 yards when they flipped fields after Sage Ryan's injury. But there was a beautiful pass breakup on 3rd and 7 by Sage Ryan against Kyron Lacey. The next play was 4th and 7, and this was a huge play by Jaden Daniels, and this is why he's just a veteran quarterback and really good at what he does. They came all-out blitz. Jaden read it beautifully, found the lane, and ran for 15 yards in the first down on 4th and 7. And then on the first down play from the plus 41, reception Mason Taylor, Sage Ryan and Mason Taylor have a massive collision around the numbers. Both guys stayed down. Mason Taylor got up. Sage stayed down. They actually moved the scrimmage to the other end of the field because they were tending to Sage Ryan. He finally got up, and his left arm was just dangling as he walked off the field. So We did not get to talk to Brian Kelly afterwards. We'll talk to Brian Kelly on Tuesday, so don't know the severity of that. But one thing is very clear is that LSU's cornerback depth is very thin. I think you feel really good about Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut as your first two guys. But after that, you are thin. After that, it is LaTerrence Welch, a sophomore, Ashton Stamps, a freshman. Yes, Denver Harris was out there. He was back, and he was running with the third team. And I know there continues to be this question of, are the coaches running him third team to make him earn it, or is that where he belongs? And I'm just telling you, there is nothing we have seen through fall camp. And I've been at every practice, and they're letting us stay out there for an hour and a half. The scrimmage, we've seen a lot. There's nothing appreciable that says, yep, that guy deserves to be higher on the depth chart. So, I mean, I think the infatuation is there because of the star rating, and I understand why that follows guys. But the reality is what it is, and they are thin at corner. If you keep Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut healthy, feel pretty good about that. But when they go nickel and dime, they're not putting other corners on the field. They're putting other safeties on the field. They feel like they got more guys at safety than they do at cornerback, which is where they're searching for guys that can step up. A couple of other things. I know a lot of people were wondering about participation. So as I mentioned, Denver Harris was back. When they were going through the practice portion, there was a group of players that were on the exercise bikes working with the trainers on the side. So they were there fully dressed but not participating in the scrimmage. That was Mac Markway, Kamorian Pimpton, Landon Ibieta, Deshaun Womack, and Mason Smith. We got to see field goal PAT with Damian Ramos and Nathan Dibert. Both made their PATs. Each attempted 3 field goals. Ramos made all of his. Dibert missed a 47-yarder. That was the only miss on the day. And the other sort of notable from Saturday is Lance Hurd. So we saw for the first time Lance Hurd run with the first team. And the first offensive unit that went out was the offensive line that we have seen from left to right. Campbell, Dellinger, Charles Turner at center, Frazier at right guard, Emory Jones at right tackle. That was the first unit that went out. The second offensive series, Emory Jones moved into right guard. Lance Hurd went in at right tackle. Now, I believe that whenever we watch LSU play Florida State in 13 days, the first offensive line is going to be the one that I just mentioned. But the real question is, if somebody goes down, are you putting in the second teamer at that position, or are you just getting your 5 best available on the field? And I think that's what we saw there. If Frazier has to come out, you're not putting Mason Lunsford in at right guard. You're moving Emory Jones to right guard and putting Lance Hurd in at right tackle because those are your 5 best available linemen. I think that's more likely what you see in that scenario. So Lance Hurd has played very well. Physically, he belongs, and if he's one of their 5 best at a given moment, he's going to be out there on the field, and he's shown that and was out there with the ones for part of the scrimmage on Saturday as well. All right, y'all. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Drink easy in Louisiana. Y'all, 1 week from today, we are going to announce the winner of our Friends in Low Places giveaway. Our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light have given us 2 tickets in their Bud Light suite at the Superdome for the Garth Brooks Show Saturday, September the 2nd. So, a week from Saturday, Garth in the Dome, you and a friend could be in the Mockler Beverage suite for that show. All you got to do is make a video, get as creative as you want, 60 seconds or less, put some Garth music in it, just you and your friends in low places, get as creative as you want. Got to have a Bud Light in the video as well. And if you're curious about any of the other rules, all that stuff, just go look at any of our social media. It's pinned on all the social media. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you'll see it all there. Make your video, send it to us, tag Mockler Beverage, TAC 1045 ESPN. And a week from today, we will be giving away those 2 sweet tickets to watch Garth in the Dome. We're looking forward to it. All right, y'all. It is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Saints Chargers from L.A. on Sunday night. I'll give you some of my takeaways. We'll do that next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. You've heard me say it before, but it's worth mentioning again. Doesn't matter if you drive an EV or what you think about EVs. The bottom line is drive down I-10. Drive any road in our city. You will see electric vehicles everywhere. The federal government, the state government have allocated resources to ramp up electric vehicle infrastructure. If you own a business, if you own a restaurant, a grocery store, a dentist office, if you own an apartment complex, a hotel, any type of business, hospital, you need electric vehicles, electric vehicle chargers. It could be an amenity for employees. It could be an amenity for customers. It could be a revenue generator. People just driving down the road, their vehicle tells them where the closest one is. Tap to pay, boom, you get paid. ProCharge EV is local. Look them up online for more info. ProChargeEV.com.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can lease a new Toyota 4Runner for $489 per month. That's right, you can get a brand new Toyota 4Runner for only $489 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, Saints moved to 2-0 in the preseason. They beat the LA Chargers 22-17. Saints got up in the ball game. It was actually pretty exciting to watch them go up. 7-0, then 10-3. The Chargers would come back to tie it. The Saints would extend their lead, get all the way up to 22-10. They would allow a late touchdown and then hold on for the win, 22-17. The result, of course, is less consequential than how you got to the result, because the preseason games are largely about roster spots 51, 52, 53. So you look at the spots where you're looking at position battles and guys who might emerge in those position battles over the course of a preseason game. So a couple of takeaways there were obviously very few starters in this ball game for New Orleans. I mean, when you looked out there, it was pretty obvious. Trevor Penning was out there because he needs reps at left tackle. Alontae Taylor, Bradley Roby, some of those guys were out there. But there was no Carr. There was no Michael Thomas. There was none of the starting offensive line otherwise. There was no Chris Olave. There was no Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, there was no DeMario Davis. I mean, your best players weren't out there. You were starting with your twos. So I know so much of the conversation after the game yesterday was about all the penalties. I mean, largely am unmoved by that. I remember there was a game under Sean Payton, a preseason game where the Saints played the Titans, and the Saints had 22 penalties, something like that, in the preseason game against the Titans. I'm unmoved by it. It's just not reflective. You could look at the Saints. They're, as an organization, one of the more disciplined teams in the league. You just don't see them really in these flag-happy football games, generally speaking. So, whenever you look and you see, Storm Norton with a holding or Brian Edwards negated 2 touchdowns, yeah, that sucks, but Brian Edwards probably isn't going to make this football team. Storm Norton's not going to make this football team. So I'm less concerned with the penalties. I'll tell you the things that I liked on Sunday. I liked the fact that you had a sequence where draft picks that we have been waiting to see what they could do sequentially did really good things. Peyton Turner comes up with the strip sack. Brian Brzee recovers the fumble. On the ensuing drive, deep pass down the left sideline to Kendre Miller, and then Miller comes up with the 7-yard touchdown run. So we've been waiting for Peyton Turner to emerge. Now, it was against backups, but he stormed through there and made a play, strip sack. Brian Brezee's a guy who was awful quiet. Remember, Brzee and Foskey did not record a stat in the first preseason game. So for Brzee to be in on that play was encouraging to see him come up with the fumble recovery after the Peyton Turner forced fumble. And then Kendre Miller. Look, Kendre Miller had a pretty quiet week 1 of the preseason and hurt his knee. And we were having this conversation a week ago today. Like, is Kendre Miller going to be available for the opener? Look, that in part necessitated, now obviously with the other injury, but with Benjamin, necessitated the Saints going to sign Darrell Williams. But one of the things we talked about when Kendre Miller was drafted was the fact that TCU did not use him as a pass catcher. As a junior, freshman, he had 1 reception. Sophomore, 12. Junior, 16. Kendre Miller, in 3 years at TCU, had 29 receptions. The most he had in a season was 16. So it's not to say he couldn't. We just didn't know if he could. Well, the wheel route he ran, the full extension catch he made to get down inside the 10-yard line was a beautiful reception. He looked like a receiver on the play. So hat tip to Kendre Miller there. And then the power run to get in the end zone a play later was pretty awesome. To see your draft capital at work there was really encouraging. So love to see that from those guys. Jalen Smith, someone else I'll tell you that was really encouraging. Jalen Smith you signed him very obviously to be your third linebacker. You've got DeMario Davis and Pete Werner. And Jalen Smith's a guy that was super productive when he came into the league with Dallas. Of course, he kind of had the quote-unquote red shirt year coming off the awful knee injury against Ohio State in that Fiesta Bowl with Notre Dame. But once he was healthy again, it was just he was a 100 tackle machine for Dallas. And he's only 28 years old. So loved the addition of Jalen Smith. He had 3 tackles in the ball game and had a pass breakup, batted down a pass at the line of scrimmage, got in the passing lane and knocked one down. You can just tell that Jalen Smith is different than the other cats out there. He looks different. It's not just the predator hair coming out the back of the helmet. He flies around. He's good in run support. He can obviously turn and cover. This is a guy that was a top 10 talent in the draft when he was coming out of Notre Dame. Still has tread on the tire, and that was great to see as well. The one guy that I think everyone is going to talk about today is Nico Lalos. He led the Saints with 5 tackles. He had 3 sacks in the ball game and 4 TFLs. So you have a day like that, and the obvious question is, like, can you keep that guy? And, this is a guy who is in his second season out of Dartmouth. Little undersized. He's 6'5", 270. And they have him listed as a D-end. And you would love, if he was performing like that, let's say third preseason game comes and he has a similar game like that, right? You would love to find a spot for that guy, but where do you do it at that position? At defensive end. Keep in mind, Carl Granderson's your starter, opposite Cam Jordan. You know that much. Tano Passanio is going to make the team. He had a pass breakup at the line of scrimmage. He's 6'7", got his hands in the air, knocked one down. That's what he's done his entire career since he's been in the league. Heck, he's great at blocking field goals because he's like putting a ladder right over the center just with his hands up. You kick it low, dude's going to get it. So, you've got Jordan, Granderson, Passanio, and you drafted Isaiah Foskey. That's 4 defensive ends. Do you have room for a 5th, especially when you look at Saunders and Shepard on the interior with Brazee as well, who you drafted? I mean, how many... This is the interesting question and why I'm always fascinated by roster spots 51, 52, 53. Because how can you look at through 2 preseason games so far in camp, how can you look at a guy like A.T. Perry and go, yeah, we don't have room? Of course you're keeping A.T. Perry. Like, it is so abundantly clear that guy is a Sunday player. He is an NFL receiver. But you got Michael Thomas, you got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed's going to make the team. So that's 3 that you feel like for sure going to make the team. They love Traquan. We'll see if they keep him around. If that's the case, you got 1 roster spot left. Well, it's A.T. Perry. Well, what do you do with the rest of your receivers who are performing? Do you keep a 6th? Is it someone that can help you on special teams? And if you keep them, then do you have room for a 4th tight end? The whole Jimmy Graham conversation is something we have to talk about as well with Jimmy Graham's arrest and his whatever medical condition he had. I know it was reported that he had a seizure and was disoriented as a result, but where do you have room? Where do you cut if you're going to keep a 3rd quarterback on the roster with Jake Haener? If you're going to keep a 4th tight end on the roster with Jimmy Graham, how are you going to be able to justify keeping an extra defensive end? So that's where when they're sitting down, putting the roster together and trying to get their best 53, how does it look? Like, find me a spot for Nico Lalos. After that, would you love to keep the guy? Sure. But who do you cut in order to keep him? To keep an extra defensive end who probably is never going to get on the field given the guys you have. I mean, you hope that he's a guy that you can cut, sign to the practice squad, and if you have an injury, you sign him to your 53. And that may be a realistic scenario for him. But keeping him on the 53, I'm not sure I know how that works out. Dennis Allen, after the game, talked about a few of these things. Talking about the receivers, what about Shaq Davis? Shaq Davis just keeps making plays out there. Here was Dennis Allen. Let's start with Jalen Smith. Here was Dennis Allen on the job Jalen Smith did in his first preseason game with the Saints.
He made a heck of a play on the 3rd down, out route to the tight end. He's basically a man-to-man coverage there. So that's the one play that kind of stands out to me a little bit. I'll have to go back and look at the tape, to see exactly how he played. But it looked like he was flying around out there, so it was fun to watch.
So I mentioned Jalen Smith was a takeaway. We talked about the draft capital, right? Peyton Turner with the strip sack, and then Kendre Miller with the touchdown. First, here's Dennis Allen's thoughts on former first-round pick Peyton Turner through 2 preseason games.
That's kind of the stuff that we've seen him doing in training camp, and that's why we drafted him where we did. And I think here's a kid that, has had a lot of injury issues, which has forced him to miss a lot of time, and so therefore he's missed a ton of development. And so it's been an unfair assessment of the player up to this point. But I do think he's had a good camp, and I do think he made some nice plays today.
That's a guy that you need to perform at that level. you put Trevor Penning and Peyton Turner in the same bucket. Those are guys you invested tremendous draft capital in as a first-round pick, and you need them to play to that. First-rounders need to be starters in the NFL. You need Trevor Penning to be your starting left tackle. You need Peyton Turner. If he's not going to start, if Granderson's got that job, you need him to back up Carl Granderson and be a guy that's part of that rotation and be an impactful part of that rotation. As for Kendre Miller, he flashed the thing we were all waiting to see. How does he look in pass protection and in the passing game?
Yeah, look, he's getting better at all that stuff. He had a nice protection the other day in the practices too, you know. So I mean, look, each day he continues to get a little bit better. Obviously, we've got to keep him healthy and keep him out there and get those reps. But you can see the talent level. He's a talented player, and so that's what we're excited about.
All right, that is Dennis Allen as the Saints beat the Chargers. There will be no joint practices this week with the Texans. That was supposed to happen. D'Amico Ryans, the Texans head coach, said his team's too banged up. They're not interested in doing joint practices, so the two teams agreed to call off the joint practices, but they will play this weekend, the third preseason game in the Superdome. It'll be the Saints and the Texans for the final tune-up, sort of walkthrough in 6 days. So on Saturday, we'll see the Saints and the Texans in the Dome for the final preseason game, but no joint workouts this week. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Corey Webster, former Tiger great, going to be with us in studio in 30 minutes. If you missed it, C-Web went and talked to the LSU secondary at practice last week. Want to get C-Web's takeaways. I mean, this guy was a two-time All-American, a national champion, a second-round pick, a two-time Super Bowl champion. I want C-Web's thoughts on this LSU secondary and how it may all come together. We'll get to that with Corey in studio in 30 minutes. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance in Southtown. Of course, the Watermark is Baton Rouge's original high-rise, the old Louisiana National Bank that they've converted into the Watermark Hotel, a gorgeous hotel property. I highly encourage you. Go eat at the Gregory if you haven't yet. They have a charcoal oven inside. So when you walk into the lobby, you get all the smell of that charcoal oven is just wafting through the lobby. It's magnificent. You've got to check out the elegance of the Watermark Hotel. The lobby bar is a great place to go have a cocktail or a glass of wine. And of course, the Renaissance Hotel, right there on Bluebonnet, near I-10. That's where the LSU Tigers are going to be staying Fridays this fall before LSU home football games. You can stay there as well, and you can always host your event at the Renaissance Hotel. The Watermark and the Renaissance.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Corey Webster in studio in 25 minutes from right now. Associated Press preseason All-America football team announced today. Tigers had 3 players on the list. Harold Perkins, a first-team AP preseason All-American on the defensive side of the ball. Malik Neighbors and Mekhi Wingo, second-team preseason All-Americans. Of course, Neighbors on the offensive side and Wingo on the defensive side. Wingo was a third-team All-American a year ago. So a guy that got some All-American love after last season, filling in for an injured Mason Smith, and now getting some preseason recognition, and justifiably so. I'll continue to say this about Malik Neighbors. I still think, I think we understand how good Malik Neighbors is. Do you know, hey Muse, do you remember who led the SEC in receptions last year?
Receptions?
Yes.
Gosh, was it Brock Bowers?
It was Malik Neighbors.
Oh.
And Neighbors was second in the SEC with 1,017 receiving yards. So led the league in catches, second in receiving yards. Doesn't that kind of underscore the point? We don't appreciate how good he is and has been. We're all guilty of it. We focused so much on Kayshawn, his on-again, off-again thing last year. We overlooked how good Malik Neighbors is, man. Dude's a freak. He led the league in catches last year.
It's not often a player like that flies under the radar, but
yeah.
it does. And I think, look, we did the when ESPN did their position rankings, we did the whole feigned indignance thing. But, in all honesty, that was a representation of that, too, because he was, 8th on that list or something. And like you said, led the SEC in receptions.
Wait, they had him 8th?
Seventh
what
or
list?
eighth.
I don't remember. So what was the
list? It was
out
their top 10 wide receivers. I don't know. We did it.
I love a list.
It just so we could do the feigned indignance. But, looking back at it in hindsight, it is kind of it speaks to our point right here of how can a guy who led the best conference in college football interceptions fly under the radar, but he does.
So that's also my point, because I got asked after the scrimmage on Saturday by a lot of people, okay, well, so Malik Neighbors had 1 catch on 4 targets. And they were pushing the ball to him. The first series on 3rd and 4, they went to Malik Neighbors. Zy Alexander had a pass breakup. They went to Malik 3 times on that 3rd series, the one after the fumble, and he came away with 1 reception. And it was all just good coverage. They had a pass breakup by Andre Sam. They ran a slant to Malik Neighbors. Andre Sam came up with the pass breakup that he almost picked. They ran a corner route around the goal line that was incomplete and overthrown. That was well covered. His only catch was on 3rd and 7 he got a 9-yard reception to keep the drive going, which is great. But my point is, man, like, the defense stepped up in a big way. So, like, I am encouraged. Do you remember Brian Kelly? Brian Kelly talked about this. This was our first media availability with Brian Kelly this fall. And remember, we had seen that one-on-one drill. We talked about it here. We seen it was receiver, it was pass catchers against DBs, one-on-one on the outside. And I charted it. We've talked about it here. There were 20 reps, and the offense won. There were 22 reps. The offense won 20 of the 22 reps. It was overwhelming in favor of the offense. And this is what Brian Kelly said when he was asked about that.
You know, we talked to the defensive backs about the deficit that they have in this particular drill so they don't get frustrated because there is no pass rush. There is no clock. They're playing man-to-man on a field that's 53 1/3 by 120. They have the whole field, and the receiver can do whatever he wants out there. So it's so important that they understand that the drill is really about their technique. It's not about a winner or a loser in that drill. So it's so important that technique is at the front of their mindset when they go into that drill. So we're really looking at that more than anything else.
So you hear that at the time and you're going, like, you kind of roll your eyes, right? You roll your eyes like, okay, BK, yeah, it's all about the technique. But then you go and see them in the scrimmage on Saturday, and the defense consistently got off the field. The secondary made plays. That's why I tell you, like, I feel good about LSU's first unit in that secondary. What I'm really worried about is somebody twists an ankle, somebody pops a shoulder. You have to put the next guy in. What does that domino effect do? That I think is a real legitimate concern with this defense right now. All right, we'll ask Corey Webster that in 20 minutes. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. You know, Erica drives an Atlas, and she's kind of been bugging me a little bit ever since not bugging me in a bad way. She listens. I don't want to think I'm about she wants the crossboard. So she and I each drove an Atlas, which is the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. But I think what we realized with it's just the two of us in Drew, we don't need that third row. We would just keep the third row down at all times. So I got a crosssport. She really likes it as well. So naturally, she wants the souped up thing. She wants like the blacked out rims, the big tires, she wants like white with tan leather. I mean, she wants the works on it, and we're going to get it. So shop yours today. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland. You could see their inventory online. I say it all the time. If it's on the lot, it's online. You can search by year, make, model, body style, price. You can work out your financing. It's all right there. The website's so easy to use, but the people are friendly as well. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, it's official. Well, we all knew. Carson Beck will open the season as Georgia's starting quarterback. He beats out Brock Vandegrift and Gunnar Stockton. Kirby Smart made it official over the weekend. Of course, Mike Bobo is taking over as the new OC there in Athens for Todd Monken, who's the new Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator.
The Missouri Tigers.
Eli Drinkwitz says he's going to use 2 quarterbacks in Missouri's opener this weekend. The Tigers have a Week 0 game this weekend against South Dakota in Como. They'll play both Brady Cook and redshirt freshman Sam Horn. Cook started the last 14 games for Missouri and was elected team captain for the second straight year. Couple of injury updates there in Como. 2 returning defensive starters missed practice on Saturday. We know that safety Jalen Carleys and linebacker Chad Bailey. Carleys expected back sooner than Bailey, who is expected to miss the first game.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy defensive tackle Christian James will not play against Hawaii due to an undisclosed injury. That is a Week 0 game coming up on Saturday. Also, Darren Agu, who suffered a dislocated elbow during practice August the 8th, questionable for the opener. Agu, if healthy, is expected to start at defensive end. Also, 2 key players are going to miss because of injuries that we knew about. Offensive lineman Jake Ketchuk tore his ACL, as did tight end Cole Spence.
The Florida Gators.
During their scrimmage over the weekend, senior running back Cam Carroll suffered a significant knee injury. That's going to cause him to miss the entire 2023 season. It's disappointing because Carroll is entering his 6th season of collegiate eligibility. He is a Tulane transfer, 6 foot 230, playing for the Gators. Florida still has their top 2 backs in Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne, along with freshman Trayon Webb.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
A late addition for Carolina, former UAB defensive end Drew Tozama, who was a preseason All-AAC pick, hit the portal, and now has been added to the South Carolina roster as a graduate. He's immediately eligible. 6'5", 275, started his career at Syracuse, transferred to UAB, but again, as a graduate, eligible immediately. South Carolina opens the season against UNC September 2nd in Charlotte.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And the Hogs got a commit from linebacker Wyatt Simmons. He's a 6'3", 215-pounder, 18th commit for the class of 2024. Chose Arkansas over Auburn, Clemson, Florida State, Illinois, Miami, Mississippi State, and a lot of other schools as well that were recruiting him. He's a 3-star, the number 60 linebacker in the country. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. A shout-out to Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know, I tell you every day, they're the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, the ULL Raging Cajuns. At Gulf Coast Office Products, they love to support the home teams. Well, they're also now officially the office equipment provider of the Baton Rouge Zydeco, the minor league hockey team that's about to start. Gulf Coast Office Products throwing their hat in the ring as well, dropping the puck, throwing the hat on the ice for a hat trick. How about that? Throwing their hat on there. Get it? A little hockey pun there. Anyway, love endorsing Gulf Coast Office Products because they're great people, man. They serve our community. They're a national leader among salvin dealers. I mean, when you think about that, like one of the top salvin dealers in the country, they're right here in Baton Rouge. Why? Because everybody trusts them. They've been around a long time. They give exceptional customer service. They got all the equipment and products you need. The latest advancements like interactive whiteboards, which I talk about all the time. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, 15 minutes from right now, Corey Webster in studio. Excited to have C-Web, former All-American, national champion, Super Bowl champion. We'll talk about this LSU secondary. We'll continue our SEC opponent fall camp updates. We started that last week. We hit Bama, Auburn, Arkansas, Florida. Today, we're going to go to Oxford in hour 3. We'll visit with our buddy Neal McCready from Rebel Grove, check in on the Rebs. And, man, a lot still to get to. I want to talk about Jimmy Graham's arrest. Saints-Texans canceling practice was, this week for the Saints as they head toward their final preseason game. So a ton to get to, and glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Jay Johnson introduced both Nate Yeske and Terry Rooney as new baseball assistants just a bit ago. We'll let you hear some of what Coach Jay had to say. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. As a matter of fact, Get Gordon Billboards. Go to getgordonbillboards.com. That's getgordonbillboards.com. By now, you know, Gordon is allowing you the opportunity to design his next billboard. And as a result, if yours is picked, not only will you win up to $2,000 in prizes, but your billboard is going to be out there for the world to see. So go to the website, getgordonbillboards.com. You can see where you can submit your artwork. The form's right there on the homepage. So calling all creatives, design your billboard. If you win, again, you could win up to $2,000 in prizes. You got to the end of this month, Thursday, August 31st, at 11:59 p.m. to submit your entry. And they're going to select up to 6 winners, by the way. So it's not like a one prize, one entry wins all. So check them out online at getgordonbillboards.com. Get Gordon. Get it done.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A woman says a road rage incident on Segan Lane ended when 2 men wearing military fatigues shot at her car. It happened last night on North Mall Drive as she exited Segan. She says 2 men were tailgating her on Segan. When she stopped to let them pass, they didn't. Then she heard a loud bang and found a bullet hole on the side of her car. The sheriff's office is investigating. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Wrapping up hour number one. Just a bit ago, Jay Johnson met reporters to introduce both Nate Yeske, the new pitching coach, and Terry Rooney, who is a new assistant on staff, who's a new old assistant. Terry Rooney was the pitching coach with Paul Maneri his first 2 years at Baton Rouge. So Terry was with Paul at Notre Dame. When Paul came to Baton Rouge, he brought Terry Rooney with him. Terry was here for the first 2 years, then became the head coach at UCF. Since then, he's been in several different places, most recently the University of Houston. But Nate Yeske comes over from Texas A&M. And Terry Rooney, they created this position. It was interesting because hearing Jay say this, but as far as investment in staff, LSU is actually lagging far behind in the SEC. You wouldn't think it because LSU has great resources and everything, but when it comes to like off-field staff, by numbers, LSU was at the bottom of the SEC. So they created this new position, sort of an operations position plus, recruiter as well, and that's the role Terry Rooney is fitting, and he will also be recruiting off campus. So really impactful guy. Terry Rooney's great. I mean, I was just starting in radio, in sports radio in 2007 when Terry was here with Paul Maneri the first go-round. Super nice. You could tell why he's such a good recruiter. He's so engaging. And then Nate Yeske, I mean, his skin's on the wall. This is a guy who was with Jay at Arizona. Prior to that, he was at Oregon State for a decade, was there when they were winning national championships and all. So Nate Yeske is one of the best pitching coaches in the country. So two really, really impactful guys that Jay Johnson was able to add. First, let's hear from Nate Yeske. He talked about his decision to come to LSU.
I think that you could hang your hat on many things. It starts with Jay. It starts with the history of the program. It starts with really what I believe that he's building here, or adding to, I should say, because this place has certainly built a tremendous foundation, and I think is really kind of the beacon of college baseball. And when you look at what Jay's been able to do in a short time, our time together in Arizona, having some conversations with him and getting an understanding of how he lets me work and develop with our guys, we've got a good working relationship with a lot of things that we're familiar with.
He also said you can never have too many left-handed pitchers. LSU's likely going to have more lefties on the staff this year than righties. And then Terry Rooney talked about the fit, the match that he has with Jay Johnson on staff together.
I really do. I believe it. And I know it's somewhat cliche to say, but I really don't view it as work. I mean, really, it's like we all talk about, we're very fortunate to love what we do, and I do love it. You know, I know that recruiting has changed, so to speak, and then the dynamics of recruiting have changed, I mean, as much as within the last year or two. Thus, I think is one of the reasons that, you know, Jay's created this position with, you know, the NIL, the transfer portal, so many different variables going into it, you know, from that end. But yes, I think that my experience, along with, I think, some of the personality traits per se that you might talk about, I think it makes a great match, and hoping that will continue moving forward.
Nate Yeske, Terry Rooney introduced today as new assistants at LSU. They begin their 8-hour weeks right now. Jay Johnson alluded to fall ball starting in October, which will run through November. They'll have a couple of inter squads, which are now allowed. They'll play, I believe he said, at McNeese and at home against ULL in the two inter squads coming up, you know, later October and then into November. So the title defense already underway for this LSU team, introducing the new staff members, and they put out the new roster today as well. So one other interesting thing of note is Jay Johnson said as of today there are no starters. Like, nobody has a spot locked up. We could guess about a lot of guys that are going to have a role somewhere. I mean, like, Tommy White's going to be your starting third baseman. I'm surprised he wouldn't say that. But they got a lot of talent, and obviously losing a lot of talent from last year's championship team. So this begins the process of molding that new roster. Okay, it's after further review. Hour 2 with Corey Webster next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. More than 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. At Michelli, they're fond of saying, we show the world what measurement can do. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Something that I hear often, most often what I hear from people is, hey, Matt, I hear you talk about the ISO 17025. We use that. We use Michelli. So when I say oftentimes, if you have no idea what that is, that's okay. You don't need it. But those who know what it is, ISO 17025 accreditation, you know why that's so impactful, and Michelli offers it. So you can get to the website. You can see everything that they offer. So much of it is just about making you more efficient. They can do on-site calibration with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Michigan is self-imposing a 3-game suspension for football coach Jim Harbaugh to begin the 2023 season, stemming from alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. He'll miss home games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then return for the Big Ten opener against Rutgers. Monday Night Football tonight. Ravens Commanders, 8 Eastern, ESPN. Plenty of excitement this season about a Baltimore team led by former league MVP Lamar Jackson and with a revamped offense. But don't sleep on the Commanders this season. They could emerge as a surprise NFC contender, says Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
When you look at this roster, top to bottom, this is one of the best rosters in the NFL. Remember, they were a top 5 defense from a year ago. They were that good. I think they were the 3rd-ranked total defense in the National Football League. That's pretty damn good. I mean, think about it. You got a really good receiving corps. You got 2 solid running backs in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Tonight's Reds-Angels game postponed due to the effects of Tropical Storm Hillary. Game made up as part of a doubleheader Wednesday.
What's going on, everybody? This is Freddie Coleman, and coming up, is Jordan Love destined to be the next great Packers quarterback? That and more beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. I'm trying to take a picture for you. Hang on. I screwed that up so bad. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU had its final fall camp workout on Saturday, scrimmage in Tiger Stadium. And also last week, we talked about it a bit here on the show. LSU on their official social media put out a video of Corey Webster talking to the current DBs. Coach Robert Steeples introduced Corey to the guys, and he gave him a speech. I think took about a 2-minute clip and put it up there. And for those that don't know, man, I kind of have to remind people this sometimes too, man, because it's been 20 years since 03.
Yeah.
But Corey Webster came to LSU as a quarterback at St. James, came here as a receiver, switches to defensive back, becomes a 2-time first-team All-American, wins a national championship in 03, is a second-round pick of the Giants, wins 2 Super Bowls. Brett Favre's last pass ever with the Packers was intercepted by Corey Webster at Lambeau Field. Guy plays 9 NFL seasons and now doing great stuff in our community here. Corey's in studio. Always good to see you, man. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Yep, likewise, I'm great. How you been?
I'm doing awesome, man. Hey, I want to go back, if we could, to the video that they posted last week. How did that all come about? Did Robert Steeples ever reach out to you to come out, or you just went to practice?
Just went to practice. I think it was the day before they had an on-field practice. Went to practice the day before because I wanted my little guys, my sixth grader and my third grader, Colin and Ren, to get a chance to experience that. The older kid had, and they hadn't experienced that. So just brought him to practice. Through practice, Coach Kelly said he wanted to meet me at the end and had a good meeting with him. And then my little cousin, who is Kyle Parker, the receiver.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he didn't practice that day. So really and truly just happened organically. He didn't practice. So I'll say, when you going to be back? You know what I mean? So that's really how the second practice of me attending came about.
Man, it's so interesting because, man, like Kyle, if it's Kyle, if it's Jalen Brown, Shelton Sampson, that's just the freshman. Kai Preon. Breaking news, LSU's got good receivers.
Facts.
I mean, oh my, like that room is so incredibly talented right now. What did so you're at practice, did Brian Kelly or did Robert Steeples ask you to talk to the guys?
So after the first practice, I think I met Steeples, and he was like, "Hey, if you're going to be around, come to the next practice." Again, I was already attending because I wanted to see Kyle practice. He hadn't practiced. He was sitting out. So I'm like, cool. He was like, give me some feedback on the DBs if you can come out. So I kind of shadowed those guys, and I thought it'd be great to shadow those guys because I have a chance to see Kyle Parker and Preon.
Kai Preon?
Preon.
Yeah.
Preon. He played down with the Redskins. His
Okay.
grandfather started that league. I started Little League football with
Oh,
Preon.
no way.
He also is a St. James guy, too.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was going to see those guys.
The River Parish's guys, man.
We deep.
There's no doubt about that, man.
So
They churn them through.
Yeah. So I was, of course, Steve was asked for that, and then I didn't know that was going to happen. That just happened organically. And then once he said, "Hey, man, I had somebody shadowing you guys around, and I want him to, introduce him," and he's asked me if I wanted to give some feedback. And then once I started talking, that's when the cameras came in and they caught that 2-minute clip.
So we all saw the 2-minute clip, but give me your thoughts just as a guy who obviously played at this level, played at the NFL. Like, what did you see from LSU's DBs?
Well, the first thing I said, the uphill battle is the learning curve because, there's so many new guys. There's not a lot of guys that stayed over from last year. So the turnover is big, now with the transfer portal and things of that nature. So what I see is no different than any class of DBs. They have a lot of talented guys there, a lot of guys that, show some great potentials and things of that nature. Now, I know potential is another big word to say we haven't done nothing yet, but it's just like in a DB class. We just need them to be hungry, willing to gel together and kind of speed up that learning curve. And I think the sky's the limit with those guys as well.
C-Web, how quickly can that happen? Like you talk about speeding up the learning curve, and maybe I'll put it to you this way. So something that the audience knows that we've talked about a lot here. So early in camp, the media got to go and we got to watch like one-on-one drills, right? So it was receivers, tight ends, backs, whatever against DBs, and man, the pass catchers were just dusting them. I mean, it was heavy wins by the offense. Well, I mean, you were at the scrimmage on Saturday. Defense, like, man, Zy Alexander comes up with a big third down stop. I mean, Malik Neighbors only had 1 catch out of 4 targets. He had a nice strip on Mason Taylor. So I'm looking at it going, okay, like if they caught up, like, is it like in 3 weeks' time, could they make that much progress? Like, how does that learning curve go?
Yeah, most definitely. It's dependent upon each individual and it's dependent upon the group. Like, if those guys want to spend extra time watching film, which I suggest that everybody do, whether you're playing, DB or not. But if you can get in outside of the coaches being in the locker room and in the film study room and learn what each other knows and build that bond amongst each other, because, again, everybody hadn't been here. So that's what it's about. It's about learning the brother to the right or to your left, what they have going on, how they play, what's their gyration, what's their movements. And I think that can be speed up, like I just said, depending upon them.
One of the other things that you said in that clip that I thought was so interesting is, and I'm paraphrasing, but you said something like no wasted time. Yeah. Like even if it's, special teams, like get off to the side and work on your footwork and stuff. Where did you learn that? Like, did coaches tell you to do that? Was it veterans that showed you that? Yeah.
I'll be totally honest with you. I know this name don't like to get thrown around a lot.
No.
Saban was my coach. So It was a no wasted time, attention to detail to the minute. So we had to run from one drill to the next, So, he preached that, And then people like Kirby Smart was my DB coach, So we had no time to waste as far as DBs because those individuals in our meet rooms every day breaking down the footage and the films like that. But what I did was I just kept taking it to the next level. So inside of the punt return drill, you have cornerbacks working together. That is a great opportunity, not just on the side, outside of the drill, when you're holding up the gunner that's going to run down there and rush the punt returner. That's a great time to utilize that time to get your footwork right, get your hands on, because it's the same thing that you're going to use as your position. So use that time and utilize it wisely.
Did you have veterans that put a good example out for you?
I'll be perfectly honest. No, we didn't.
So you weren't like, but that's a good. I'm glad you said it that way, Corey, because when I think of DBU, right, I think of it starting with you and Travis Daniels.
That's a fact.
That's where it started. So like you set the example, you and Travis set the example for the wave that came next, and then it just continued carrying on.
And when I said that, I wasn't only speaking about college. I also was speaking about the professional level as far as having veterans. We didn't have that there when I got there. Now, I'm not going to lie, on the professional level, we got guys in our meet room like Sam Madison and R. McCready, but they came later, 2 or 3 years later, right? But there was veteran that bought into us and gave us that. At the college level, I was new to the position, so I'm not trying to throw none of the LSU guys under the bus. You know what I mean? It was, but honestly, they inspired what we wanted to do. So because of the actions, you know what I mean, I'm gonna keep it nameless and, you know, leave out a lot of details to the story in the DB group. Because of the actions of the guys that came before us, we wanted to have a close-knit group, and we wanted to have a group that helped the next generation of DBs come behind us. That was a conscious thought between myself and Travis Daniels, particularly because he came the year after me, and he probably wouldn't have came if we wasn't recruiting him.
Yeah. But it is so. And I want to talk to you a little bit also about 03. We talked about that, so we'll do that in the next segment because that was still my favorite. Like 03 is still my favorite team. We'll talk about that in a minute though. But for the point at hand, from what you saw with LSU being out there this past Saturday in the scrimmage, let me ask you another big picture. Like if I asked you, what were your biggest observations from the scrimmage on Saturday? What would you say?
And I want to tell the fans this too. You know, 1-on-1s and 7-on-7, that's mostly an offensive drill. I'm not trying to give the defense any excuses at all. You know what I mean? Because they can be better in that moment. But when you put the pads on and you put a defensive lineman out there, it's a little different throwing that ball on air than it is throwing it with those guys rushing at you and being in the way. So I wanted to put that out there too.
Brian Kelly said the same thing, and so we were all like, "All right, is he just flubbing, or is that?" But then you saw it on Saturday. It was like, "Okay, all right." No, Summer, so go ahead.
Yeah, so just seeing guys, if I'm not mistaken, your question is how they gelling. What do I see out there as my observation?
What did you see on like what stood out to you watching the scrimmage on Saturday?
Just them being up for the challenge, right? Because we have such a good, wide receiver group, right? So just them being up for the challenge to go challenge those guys. Don't just take second fiddle to those guys. You challenging those guys and competing against them is only going to make you better. But with the D-line, we got Savion, another St. James,
yeah, man,
right?
So good.
So D-line looks really good. Saw a lot of plays being made there. Linebackers are looking well, and I think the back end is going to come along as well as those guys get to know each other. But I just saw some guys out there that was willing to make plays, willing to compete. I think they made a couple of MEs or missed opportunities early on in practice, but they finished well, so that was good.
Corey Webster is in studio with us. I mean, 2-time All-American, national champ, 2-time Super Bowl champ. I mean, he is. Him and Travis Daniels, they were the founders of DBU as we know it today. So thrilled to have Corey in studio. Let me knock out a quick break, come back. I want to continue with C-Web, and I got to talk. Bro, I know it's going to make you feel old, man, but you and I are the same age. 20 years since 2003. We'll talk about it when we come back next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about River City's 1 hour air. I mean, you'd have to be a fool not to know, man. Air temperature, 105 degrees every day. We're setting records every day with the heat. Don't let your AC go out.
They're psychic.
Let your AC go out at the house, man.
But we do know firsthand that a spring tune-up can help your system run better and last
longer. If you have an issue with your AC,
could see lower energy
all the
bills.
best. Call River City's 1 hour air. You see them all over town. Big yellow vans and trucks with a big clock on the side. That's River City's 1 hour air. Look, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. They value your time. They value your money. Here's a 5-star review from Sean and Rebecca Owens. It said, my AC went out the hottest time of the day. It was 101 degrees. Darren, the technician, came the same day. He was quick, professional, got us up and running in no time. So thankful for Darren and River City's 1 hour air. Don't let that happen to you. Call River City's 1 hour air, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Man, it's such a pleasure to have Corey Webster in studio. 2-time All-American, national champ, 2-time Super Bowl champ. You ever wear the rings? Any of them ever?
I did. I had it on Saturday.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. Which one?
46. Just to get a guy some motivation. Let him see some hardware a little bit.
You just gotta. Which giant ring am I going to wear today? I got to pick one out of the box. Which giant ring am I going to wear? But the first, of course, was 03 national championship. And C. Webb and I were talking off air. That's 20. Every championship is special in its own right. 2019, Joe Burrow, it was just magical. We'll never see that again. 07 was so dramatic with all of the close games and everything. 03 for me is my favorite. I was a senior. I'm biased. I'm a senior at LSU. And also, it was the one that broke a 45-year streak when a lot of people thought that was an unreachable goal for this program. It's been a half a century, man. LSU can win games. They can be good. They can't win a national championship. And you guys broke through and did it. Did you all at the start of that season, do you remember if that was something y'all talked about, this team can win a national championship?
Well, it definitely was the goal, but we knew a lot of little things had to take place throughout the season. But when we saw how we showed up for the 4-quarter program in the spring, it was like, oh, this is special. Because we didn't have any captains on that team, 0 captains. We had a peer committee of 13 to 15 guys, but that was it. We didn't need any captains. Now, at the start of the game, we just picked 4 people and we rotate those guys. But I'm talking about no true captains was named for that season. So that means guys was accountable to each other and to themselves, So it wasn't a whole lot of policing that needed to happen. Now, of course, we wasn't perfect, so we had mishaps along the way, but we knew it was special when that started to happen.
Are there, everybody has their favorite games, moments, memories from that season. Do you have games that stand out to you for whatever reason? Because a player's games or memories could always be different from a fan's, for whatever reason. Something like maybe you had an awesome game one day where you just locked down a guy who was talking the whole time. It could be different. So, like, what comes to mind for you?
Crazy to say this is the Florida game that we lost.
The loss, yeah.
I promise you, we let one slip away from us because, we thought we was a great defense, and they won the chess battle that game, between us. So not harping on it, don't have any regrets, but that's one of the games that I think about all the time. Somebody always asks me, just like you mentioned, 03 or Joe Burrow and the 2019 team. And I got to say the 2019 team because we gave up that loss to Florida.
How would 2003 defense have fared against the 2019 offense?
Yep, I think it would be interesting, but I'm always going to pick us, I'm never going to go against, us, So I think it would have been a lot of, we wasn't going to let him stay clean back there and throw the ball. We was going to have a chess match, and hopefully we had enough film on him that we can win that chess battle that time.
Would you have wanted Jefferson or Jamar? Who would you have wanted?
Probably whoever was on the ex-receiver side the most of the time. The guy that was on the ball that wanted to be singled. I know Jefferson kind of roamed around a little bit, so that might have been Jamar Chase. And then Travis and Randall Gay would have had to follow the other guys around. And then we would have had, LaRon Landry making sure that he's the enforcer. And Jack Hunt, can't forget about Jack, getting everybody where they need to be, when they need to be there, and knowing what they're supposed to know.
How important? LaRon was a freshman on that team.
Yes.
True freshman who played quarterback, another River Paris guy at Hahnville, comes in and is a starting safety as a true freshman on that defense. How important was he as a true freshman on that defense?
Vitally important. And all keys was vitally important, but it was by committee. When I say that, I see a lot of the cornerbacks now, they don't understand the game on the inside. What I mean by the inside, like between the tackles, right? We did a good job because he was young in helping him progress along the way. Now, he was very talented, very smart as well, but he speed up that learning curve that we talked about. We helped him do that by us knowing everything that we needed to know so we could help him get lined up and stuff like that soon.
Was there a game where you all collectively thought, yeah, we are as good as we thought we were?
Not really a game, just in practice. We competed so hard, We had Michael Clayton and those guys on the opposite side, Benny Brazil's, Dwayne Bowe, a lot of, talented receivers on the side. So in practice, it was so competitive, And like I said, we had, Saban in our meeting room, so we wanted to win every battle, one-on-ones. So, you spoke about one-on-ones. Yeah, we wanted to win one-on-ones because Saban had to come in our meeting room. So for me, the practice was so hard and so competitive that the games came easy.
Everybody talks about Georgia because it was finally like breaking through when you all beat a top 10 team in Tiger Stadium, and it was such a big win. Of course, then the Florida loss came. But what do you remember? Like everybody always talks about when was it Tyson Browning that scored on the screen pass?
Yes. Nope, I think that was Danny Ware
that scored on the screen pass. Yes. So everyone always talks about, like, after the touchdown, the fans just started chanting LSU and just got louder. What's your, I say, okay, the Georgia game, what's your first memory that comes with that one? The first Georgia game.
Georgia game, yeah. I think they was the start of exposing us in running backs, if you recall that. Because remember, Florida, it was the running backs that scored. That as well, that 90-something yarder, that was a running back that scored that touchdown. Finishing. Because defense had started off real good against Georgia, and then not gelling together well, meaning offense, the three, offense, special team, and defense, not gelling well. So after defense made a couple of stops, I don't know if they relaxed or we relaxed, but then offense kind of, got stubbed a couple of times. I felt that game should also been, a blowout game if you go back and watch some of the things that we mess up on. So that's what I remember about that game, not just taking full advantage of the opportunity that we had presented us, and then having each other's back, so to speak, when, all right, maybe offense is not doing so well, so defense need to keep pushing along. We didn't do that.
Corey Webster's with us. The rematch was a blowout in the SEC championship game. By that point, Justin Vincent had emerged and obviously was awesome and the MVP of that game. When y'all went to Ole Miss and shut down that offense, that's personally when I was like, oh, who is going to score against this team? Yeah. Because you forget how good that Ole Miss offense was. And really the touchdown they got early was off the interception, which set them up right there. It was first play of the game.
Yeah, I think so.
It was the first drive of the game where they had a defensive interception, put them right in the goal to go situation. They ended up scoring. So they really moved the ball against y'all all game. They missed a couple of field goals, but I mean when y'all locked down that Ole Miss offense, it was like, I don't think anybody's scoring against this defense.
And that was another one of those things. That's what I'm talking about, not gelling together and we wasn't working together. Because even though offense turned it over, it's our job. Doesn't matter what the situation was to go out there and stop them. So we didn't do a good job of having – that's how we look at it. We didn't do a good job of having the offense back in that moment right there and giving up that early touchdown.
The 2003 national championship team and their 20-year anniversary, bro. They're going to be honored at the Florida game this year. Are you excited they picked the Florida game?
Well, I think Florida game for many reasons. I think the baseball team is going to get honored as well.
Okay.
So that kind of makes sense.
Okay. That makes, wait, so y'all got to share the date with the baseball team?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Like, why can't y'all have your own days?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that, we're trying to put a little pressure on Florida. That's a big game. And hopefully at that time it'd be, even the matchup be built up so much and we help them get over the hump because we in town and want them to get back to where that 2003 team had just left from.
That'll be the week after LSU plays in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. So weird to play Florida in November this year, but it's the way that the schedule falls, a lot of the realignment and everything. Corey Webster's in studio with us on Twitter, all social media at IamCWeb. Go give him a follow on everything, YouTube, Twitter, IG, everything. I also, one more question about the team, but I wanted to make sure we promoted all the stuff that you got going on as well. Fill everybody in on what you're doing now. Football's done, and what's going on with you.
Yeah, so I wanted to have some intellectual property. So I started writing a program based off of my experience. They say our life worth is our gift given back to the next generation. So I want to make sure that I make them, I guess a process, so to speak, that they have an easy transition because of my experience. So it's a transition program. We do it from high school level to college level, from college level to professional level, as well as, somebody changing profession. So, it's professional development, player development, and we want to, we had people that came back and spoke to us, so we want to be able to do that as well. And I want to be able to have intellectual property, write books around that, have podcasts built around that, and, so they can pull from our experiences.
Not just for athletes, though.
No, not just for athletes.
So make sure you follow Corey on all social media. Again, at IamCWeb, CWE, 1B, CWEB.
1B.
Yeah, at IamCWeb. You give him a follow on all the social media platforms. Make sure you do that. Before you go, and man, I appreciate your time so much, you coming in and hanging out with us today. With this LSU team, and you look at all the pieces they have, does it look like a team that has everything that they need to be able to make a run toward a national championship this year?
Most definitely. They have athletes all across the board. We talked about the offense. I think everybody expectation for the offense is already there. I think the defense have a couple of components that may have question marks based off of not being in the locker room and not seeing those guys and being with them. But I think the defensive line is very strong. I think the linebacking group, can make plays and very athletic and cover people. And I think the DBs have the full potential to be whatever they want. I don't think it's no different than any other DBU group, and I think they're making them earn it. So I think those guys buying into earning it, they can't break it down with DBU. A lot of that stuff been passed on in the past. So these guys right here going to earn it, and I think they're going to, kind of be successful because of that, because there's going to be earned. It's not going to be given and not just following in the footsteps. They have to, kind of like some of the professional teams get them to have to earn their decals on their helmet. They have to earn the right to be called DBU, and I think that's going to help them and benefit them going forward.
You still take a lot of ownership over that group 20 years later. But it's worthwhile, man. It's worthy. It's like you and Travis, and I shouldn't leave out Blue as well.
Yes.
I mean, he was a huge part of that national championship defense as well. The great Corey Webster, man. It's great to have you in studio. Thank you again for the time as always, man. We appreciate you.
Yep, I appreciate you, man. Wouldn't have it no other way.
It's Corey Webster. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Our buddy Mincy, back to being Barstool Minty. He's in studio. He's going to join us when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. You can always check them out online again at Rouse's.com. You can check out the weekly ad right there. Last week, the newest Rouse's location opened up in Houma. You can go check it out. Hey, I always encourage you, when you go into Rouse's, like my wife shops at Rouse's. She goes there every weekend, the one in Long Farm. She loves their brisket. Like, you can go into any Rouse's, and yeah, they've got the bakery, they've got the seafood, the hot and boiled kiosks, they've got the meat shop there as well. If you want to get your steaks, your chops, whatever it is, they have like hot prepared meals ready to go, man. Grab your sides, grab your beef. They got it for you. She loves the brisket, got a whole bunch of that. Just portion it out, have it for meals for the week. It's all at Rouse's. And make sure you check out the Rouse's branded products. So look for the Rouse's logo, the R with the circle around it. They use as many locally sourced products as they can for their Rouse's products. Get a better quality at a better price. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
It is good to welcome back Barstool Minty. What a 3-month journey this has been for our guy Ben Mintz. Hey man, first of all, welcome back. Good to have you. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. You know,
I bet you are.
Yeah, I feel like things are trending upward. You know, things are trending upward.
Just very quick for those that don't know, I'll give people like the very quick Cliff's notes. Mincy from Monroe, went to Ole Miss, great dude, was working here with Jimmy Ott, gets hired by Dave Portnoy at Barstool during COVID or just after COVID.
It was beginning of October. So
gets hired at Barstool, moves up to New York, doing the Barstool thing, had an unfortunate viral moment that got him fired at Barstool, despite the protest of the Chiefs at Barstool. It was really a Penn decision. Dave Portnoy hires Mincy, the founder, CEO of Barstool, to be a content creator for his watch company.
Yep, rocking the Brick Watch.
The Brick Watch.
Yep, there you go.
And then Portnoy buys back Barstool for $1, and the first thing he does is hire back Ben Mintz.
3-month cycle of life, man. It was the craziest. It's stranger than fiction. When you look back on all of it, I'll never make sense of it because my little incident helped tank the Penn stock, which might have in turn been part of why Dave got it back.
Well, man, that is truly that is a definition of irony, where a thing that Penn did that they thought they were doing positive for their company ended up being a thing that might have been the ripcord on what ultimately killed it, but killed the Barstool deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, where do you even start, Mincy? What's it like being back then?
Well, it's okay. So it's just been a crazy 3 months just unplugging all of it because when I slipped on air on May, it was May the 1st of the month, as we all know. I kind of was having a panic attack after because I was so freaked out about it. And Dave calls me immediately after, super calm, just hey, apologize on Twitter. It's going to be okay. Just stay calm because he could tell how shook I was. And then I kind of calmed down Monday afternoon. And the next day I send a 4-paragraph, real buttoned up apology email to our CEO. Just I'm so sorry I put you through this, try to be. And she sends me back, Erica sends me back an email obviously you made an incredibly stupid mistake, but it was obviously an honest one. Don't ever do it again.
Yeah.
And so when she said that, I'm like, okay, I'm not getting fired. She's fighting for me. And then I get a call on the Wednesday morning from Dave saying, look, me, Big Cat, and Erica went to bat. We laid it out. I don't know what Penn's going to do. Right when he said that, I'm like, okay, I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
The second. And then
you knew at that point.
Yeah, and then Erica FaceTimed me in tears to tell me I was getting let go. But I was kind of calm at that point. I don't know why. Maybe it's a faith thing. I don't know. But I was kind of calmed down. And after I got let go that week, it was Jazz Fest in New Orleans. I'm like, I could sit around being depressed. It's not going to do any good. I'm just going to get out and live my life. But, man, everybody just thought I was dead. I'm just going around New Orleans, Jazz Fest. Couldn't be more public. And, man, I must have had 300 people come up to me just I'm so sorry. I'm like, man, I'm alive. I've gotten fired before. This isn't the first time. I mean, it happened in Bossier in early 2020, But, so anyway, I go kind of radio silent, but by attorney's advice before I signed a severance. They told me, my friends told me, they're just dude, don't say anything. Just be quiet until we get the severance figured out. But what happened was I was radio silent for 10 days on Twitter. The silence was deafening. People were freaking out, worried about me. But I was actually just kind of chilling, whatever. And at first I thought, man, I better get my poker game sharp because nobody's going to hire me for 5 years after this in this current climate. And it actually was kind of the opposite. I got a ton of interest, and I took a summer job at Poker Go covering WSOP. And then right after I signed the severance on May the 12th, Dave called me on May 13th and offered me the Brick Watch gig. And right when he did that, I'm like, I have to go back to Dave for him going to bat for me like this. And so I already knew I was taking it, but I announced it on my 40th birthday by the Gleason statue. 10.5 million view video, baby.
Awesome.
And so then I, started doing the Brick Watch thing. I was working in Vegas. June was actually a pretty rough month. I kind of had some personal stuff, lost a couple people close to me in the Barstool thing. So I was kind of reeling. And then late June, I kind of realized, man, you just can't sit around playing the victim. Everybody does this in our society now. It's you've come too far in life to do that. And I just really started focusing on my health again. Started eating healthy, running, working out, all that. And then vibes started trending real positively. I felt like there was a good energy and all that. And the next thing you know, I look up on August 8th and Dave buys Barstool back and I get rehired. So now I look up
wild,
it was cool too because I was getting paid by Poker Go and Brick Watch and so I actually made more money this summer and improved my health. And now I'm back with Barstool and I just went to Rough and Rowdy. Got to fly on the private jet for the first time with Big Cat. And, I yell freedom in the ring to kick off the Rough and Rowdy, where it just – so it's all did it all really happen? But, I don't know. So it's been a crazy few months, but I'm back at Barstool. And, yeah, man, and just a lot to be excited about.
Oh, Mincy, man. You genuinely deserve good things because as far as – when people talk about vibe check and everything like that, you're as good as they come, man. As positive a dude as I know. And I want good things for you, man. So I'm happy for you because I know that's what you want is to be back at Barstool, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, and it was also interesting because I turned 40. Like, so much happened in this few month stretch. But I'll say this is like cheesy to say, but I went through a lot in a 5 or 6 week period. And everybody in life is going to go through a bad. That's the human existence, But I feel like I'm very proud of how I bounced back out of it in late June and the resiliency stuff, and and I think that's getting rewarded. And now. Back with the stool. A lot of changes coming at the stool. Obviously not going to be in the gambling content right now, or no sportsbook thing. And so it's going to be interesting. I got a lot of stuff to think about next couple months.
So what is your, like, for those that follow your content, what's the schedule going to look like?
Well, so next couple of months, I got a big decision coming up. I'm getting a lot of pressure to move to Chicago right now because we've opened the new office in Chicago mid-October. Big Cat's been trying to get back there for years. He's a Chicago guy. He took a lot of the top guys out of New York to go there, and getting a lot of heat to join that possibly in early November, and I'm definitely strongly considering it because it seems like the right career move.
And that's, not to interrupt you, that's where Megan went too,
yeah,
right?
Megan went, yeah. But it's a lot of good people. Brandon Walker's there, and PFT, all the Pardon My Take guys, the Yak guys. It's a lot of good people up there. So in the meantime, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos. I'll still be doing gambling content. I'm going to run around the South. I'm on the Fantasy Football Pod, the Poker Pod, just a lot of 30-second to 1-minute videos where I turn up a lot of energy and people click on those. That's kind of what it kind of seems like. And then also just me doing stupid stuff on camera and people clicking on that. So.
He's on Twitter at Stool Minty. So you drop the bar.
No, somebody stole Barstool Minty.
Are you serious?
On Twitter and Instagram. And the dude on Instagram, this guy almost outed him. The guy goes, "Oh, I'm an Ole Miss law student. I'm a big fan of yours. I'll give you Barstool Minty back for a brick watch." I was like, "You're blackmailing me and you're a fan of mine?"
That's not blackmail. That's barter, Minty. Give the guy a watch.
I mean, if you're a fan of mine, you try to shake me down for a watch, I don't know.
Minty, it's just a watch.
It's a $2,000 watch.
I mean, okay, I'm with you. It's an expensive. Okay, it's an expensive watch.
Yeah,
how important
he's shooting his shot, but I was like, man, I don't know. So I switched to Stool Minty, but I'm just really excited. I know I'm going to be in the South at least September and October, so it's going to be great to be here for a SEC fall, and I'm just pumped, man. It's crazy. It's just like a big cycle, but I feel like there's like a tidal wave of positive momentum right now.
So wait, so the guy who has Barstool Minty, so he's not doing anything with it?
Yeah, he just like grabbed it when I switched my name to. I've switched it to a lot of things.
Okay,
I was Destroyer Minty, I was Brick Watch Minty, now we're back to Stool Minty.
I've changed my mind. This guy's an a-hole. The guy who has at Barstool Minty is a total a-hole. He needs to give it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. If you're a fan, come on.
He's an a-hole. He needs to give it back. Barstool Minty, or at Stool Minty, is in studio with us. Okay, couple minutes here. Give me a thought on SEC East, SEC West. Anybody challenge Georgia in the East?
I'm curious the quarterback thing because I feel like losing Todd Monken's an awesome OC. He's with the Ravens now, and I know Bennett always, people whatever, but man, he was awesome. He played really well. I'm curious to see how Carson Beck does. If anybody's going to challenge him, I guess it would be Tennessee. I heard a lot of good stuff that at the Manning Passing Academy that Joe Milton was the best quarterback at it this summer. I heard a lot of intel that he looked like awesome, but they also lost their OC to South Florida. But, their schedule's weak. Georgia's got a real weak schedule. So they'll probably win it, but at least Tennessee gets them at home. So Tennessee, if anybody.
That second to last playing date at Neyland is if Tennessee loses at Bama.
Yeah, if they could beat Georgia and get the tiebreaker, you never know.
That's the fascinating scenario that I'm looking at. It's all Georgia's going to be there. They got more talent. It all revolves around, can Tennessee get to that game, that penultimate game in Neyland, with either undefeated or with one loss.
Mm-hmm.
If they can, now we got action at the end of November, and that's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
What do you think about the West?
The West this year, look, I don't know. I believe in this LSU team. I know that, the defense is still figuring some stuff out, but the 4 road games in 6 weeks to start's tough because you got to think, obviously a lot's on the line week 1 against Florida State, and we saw what happened last year. They bounced back last year, but, if they can get through that first 6 at like 5-1, you might get tripped up once. They're going to be good. I think they're going to be real good. And, we've seen this LSU trend with these second-year coaches. All of a sudden, it's cropped up here this year. But I think they're going to be 10. I think 10-2, a good shot at the playoff. The Bama thing's really interesting. I think they're going to get back to being real physical, running the ball and playing defense with the receiving core's not as good and the unproven quarterback thing. But I still, they're going to be good. I actually think this is a hot take. I think A&M's going to be kind of good. I think Petrino coming in. I just think if Jimbo will let Petrino call the plays, I think Wegman could step forward. You know, he's a true freshman last year, but a 5-star. And they have talent on that defense. The defense actually wasn't that bad last year. They just couldn't score. And so, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be great, but I think get back to like 8 or 9 wins. I think that's possible. Auburn will be interesting because Hugh Freeze is like the perfect coach for Auburn. He'll win. You know, there'll be some big upsets, but then he'll drop a couple that he's supposed to win. And I've kind of Peyton Thorne, that quarterback. He doesn't move that well, but he does push the ball down the field decently. So I'm curious how that's going to be. The Ole Miss thing, I think they're going to be better than they were last year. But like you saw what happened to Baton Rouge last year. That was almost a 7-0 playing a cream puff war. Bro. And then down the stretch goes 1-5. I think the team's a lot better. The Pete Golding hire's good, but the schedule. Number 4. And then how about the September 9th and 10th? Ole Miss at Tulane in Neyland and Titan Saints week 1.
Very
That
cool.
is going to be an awesome NOLA weekend. Bro. The weekend LSU has Grambling.
Why is Ole Miss playing at Ullman, by the way?
I don't know, but I'll be pumped about it. It's 5 minutes from my house. I mean, you know, but it's going to be a tough ticket, man.
Bro.
Tulane, it's sold out. Tulane's fired up. I mean, it's only 25,000 seats. It's going to be 200 or 300 to get in that thing.
Bro, the schedule for Ole Miss, they're at
Georgia,
Tulane.
at Bama.
They're at Tulane. They're at Bama, at Auburn, at Georgia,
at Mississippi State.
At Mississippi State.
State's got everybody back too,
bro.
No,
like,
I think you could be 7-5 and be better.
Yeah,
I think
could see that.
I think it's very. I think the thing is, if you don't win the Tulane game, you have Bama and LSU both in September too, and you could be facing a 3-loss September. So
complete about face from a year ago, where it was just
cream puff forward. Kentucky, Kentucky was the best win. They were 7-0, but I think they're going to be better. Pete Golding has come in and just killing the recruiting, brought in a bunch of good transfers, got the top player in Mississippi for next year committed this week, Kamarion Franklin. Got a bunch of good, you know, the talent level's getting upgraded. Last year, Chris Kiffin was supposed to be defensive coordinator last year. He comes back for 6 weeks and is like, screw this college football. I'm going back to the NFL. And Ole Miss got put in a terrible spot having to promote Chris Partridge, a position coach, to DC late when no DCs were available. And I think that was a big problem. I think Spencer Sanders is going to be the quarterback. I just can't see.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's still a debate, but I just can't see how you bring in a 4-year starter if he's going to sit. Like, to bring him and Walker Howard in, I feel like that showed that Kiffin doesn't think highly of Dart. Just my thoughts.
Same opinion I had last year, Jaden Daniels. Why do you bring in a guy that started for you? Didn't bring him here to sit.
And Sanders chose Ole Miss over Auburn, and he could have started immediately at Auburn, which I thought was interesting. So I think they're going to be better, but the record may not be. But it's going to be fun. I'm just excited for that too. What a weekend that's going to be in New Orleans, Tulane and Titan Saints.
Mincy on Twitter at Stool Mincy. Go give him a follow. Thanks for coming in, dude. It's good to see you.
Always good to come back to BR, man. I appreciate it.
It's after further review. Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Mincy, you were standing right in front of the camera, dog. I mean, you were just chilling right in front of that thing. All right, y'all, get on by Pluckers. Every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. So either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Hey, you realize you got Monday Night Football tonight? I get it that it's preseason, but it's still, I mean, like, it's still like Monday Night Football tonight. So get on by Pluckers tonight. You want a place to watch? You got the Ravens against football team or Commanders, or I'll never get used to calling them the Commanders, but Baltimore against Washington, Monday Night Football. Get on by Pluckers. It's all-you-can-eat wings. Celebrate the return of football. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with Uber Eats or DoorDash. It's Pluckers. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A woman says a road rage incident on Segan Lane ended when 2 men wearing military fatigues shot at her car. It happened last night on North Mall Drive as she exited Segan. She says 2 men were tailgating her on Segan. When she stopped to let them pass, they didn't. Then she heard a loud bang and found a bullet hole on the side of her car. The sheriff's office is investigating. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number 2. Muso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, we got baseball call-ups, NFL, Sam Burns charging on a Saturday, but we're starting on the track. Sha'Carri Richardson, world champion. The comeback's not complete yet, but that's a hell of a first step. Wins the World Championship with 100 meters, her first ever attempt at the World Championship. Does it in lane number 9, all the way on the outside. Does it in a personal record time of 10.65. Also a top 5-time all-time. Just an awesome, awesome moment. Olympic gold is next, and that will complete the comeback. To the NFL. We'll go to last night's game. Chargers, Saints.
She fast, bro.
Outside lane. Lane 9. Just top 5. Incredible. Incredible.
Hashtag analysis. She fast, bro.
She fast, bro. Darrell Williams for the Saints last night. 8 carries, 17 yards. Threw in a reception for 4 yards for good measure there.
He had a big run called back, too.
He did have a big one. Holding, yeah, there's plenty of that. And then Jontre Kirkland. Jontre Kirkland, how about that? Along a 53 last night, 59 yards, receiving 3 receptions off 3 targets. Though it's Jontre, the ball does not hit the ground. Major League Baseball call-ups to get to a couple of them. We'll start with Dylan Cruz. Dylan Cruz, no surprise here, being called up to Double-A, now a member of the Harrisburg Senators. Dylan Cruz has played 15 games in minor league baseball. That's between the rookie league and low A. So 15 games. He's hitting .385 with 5 home runs and 24 RBI. He does not belong, and he continues to prove that, and he will continue to prove that at Double-A. Keith Law, for what it's worth, the Athletic, was asked about it, said with them moving Cruz up to Double-A, it would make sense that he sees time in the major leagues this year. They wouldn't just move him up for no reason.
He's got to be we talked about this last week, didn't we? September call-up, give him a taste, and he's going to make the big club next year in spring training.
Out of spring training. The Nats stink. It makes a lot of sense. Paul Skeens also getting the call-up today. So the number 1 and number 2 picks. How about that? Paul Skeens has pitched in 3 games in the minor leagues, rookie and low A. He has not given up a run. He has
given 1 hit.
I don't have that in front of me. I just have his ERA and strikeouts. Sorry. So no earned runs, and he has struck out 6 so far, and now a member of the Altoona Curve.
I think he's thrown 4 innings.
Yes, correct. 1 inning in each of his first 2, and then he threw 2 innings in the last time. And then the 5 Ks and then the no earned runs. I'll be interested to see if they give him a go. Pirates kind of the same boat, right? They stink. Why not give him an inning or 2? You've brought him this far and have him make the club out of spring training.
I mean, the thing that would have made the most sense was just shutting him down completely. If you're going to let him throw, then of course you give him a taste of the show this year. Why are you letting him throw against children?
Neither of them belong, but it's been a lot of fun to watch them not belong. Finally, we'll wrap it up. Sam Burns told you all throughout last week when you were updating his rounds, he needed something big on the weekend to make it to East Lake and the Tour Championship. He got that something big on Saturday. Course record 62 bogey free for Sam Burns. Shot 1 over yesterday, but he made the top 30. He'll be in the FedEx Cup final, the Tour Championship, at position number 26. That gets underway on Thursday. We'll keep you updated. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 30 years. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, and Lafayette. Gentlemen, you always get the Lee Michaels experience, no matter your budget, at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. Been a good one, man. Thanks to C-Web, Corey Webster being in studio with us. Ben Mintz was in studio with us. Our buddy Neal McCready from Rebel Grove will do our Ole Miss fall check-in here in about 20 minutes from right now. When we come back, the Saints and the Texans have canceled their joint practices this week. Want to get a little bit of a Saints update coming out of their week in L.A. We'll do that when we come back right after SportsCenter. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. If you need tires, and we're not just talking about any tires. We're talking about the best tires on the road. Michelin, Firestone, Bridgestone, BF Goodrich, the best tires, name brand tires at wholesale prices. You need to go to Shawbills. Remember, at Shawbills, they will always sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. I could not recommend it highly enough that you go to the website. If you want to shop tires, you could shop by model, you can shop by your specific vehicle, whatever year, make, body style, price, trim, season, it's all there for you. And you can read about the Shawbills price match guarantee as well, where you will always get more with your next tire purchase. That's at Shawbills. ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. You know, Shawbills also offers you the Charlie's Dozen, something we talk about so often here, which is a dozen benefits extended to you and your family whenever you buy tires at Shawbills. Go to the website. You can read it now, ShawbillsTire.com. It's Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can lease a new Toyota Camry for $489 per month. That's right, you can get a brand new Toyota Camry for only $489 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
is a taco more than just a taco when it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Michigan is self-imposing a 3-game suspension for football coach Jim Harbaugh to begin the 2023 season, stemming from alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. He'll miss home games against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then return for the Big Ten opener against Rutgers. Following a couple of lively joint practices, the Commanders host the Ravens in their second preseason game on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern ESPN. Lamar Jackson won't play tonight. With new targets and a new offensive coordinator, Jackson, though, eagerly awaiting what could be a special 2023 season.
Ownership, just being able to have the keys to the offense, letting me be able to control what I see out there on the field. He letting me know, if you see this coverage right here, what should you go to? Like, I see plays on social media, and then I just send them a play like, man, this play look good. Coach like, yeah, I kind of like that right there. We dialed down with him, and he dialed down with me, and I'm liking it so far.
Lamar Jackson. Tonight's Reds-Angels game postponed due to the effects of Tropical Storm Hillary. Game will be made up as part of a doubleheader Wednesday.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumplay. we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. If you were here last week, we started our check-ins. We're going to check in with all of LSU's SEC opponents from last week starting and then through this week. So we checked in on Bama, Auburn, Arkansas, Florida, and in about 12 minutes from right now, we'll head to Oxford, check in with our buddy Neal McCready from Rebel Grove to update the Ole Miss Rebels. We'll have Mississippi State to do, and Texas A&M, and there's Missouri is the other SEC school that we got to make sure we knock out. So what? Go ahead.
No, yeah, you got them. You got them. I didn't know if you said state at first, but yeah, you got them.
Hashtag math. 8 league games. They didn't go to 9. They stuck at 8.
Yeah. It's okay. It wasn't because of money. That follows. It doesn't lead. You know, they it's not
due to Sankey leg.
It's not like they had 2.5 years to figure that out. It's okay.
Saints beat the Chargers. By the way, if you're just joining us, thanks for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that like button. We always appreciate you for being here. Did a couple of segments with former LSU great Corey Webster. Opened up the show today talking about my takeaways from the LSU scrimmage. We talk Saints Chargers. So everything on demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. The Saints this week were supposed to have joint workouts with the Houston Texans. That's not going to happen. After the game against the Chargers, Dennis Allen gave his take on the decision to cancel the joint practices with Houston.
D'Amico reached out to me this morning and wasn't sure that they were going to have. They had a lot of guys get injured this past week, and wasn't sure that we were going to be able to have productive joint practices. So we thought it was better to go ahead and cancel it and just be able to play the game. So look, sometimes those things happen, and we were both in agreement with that. So we'll work on our own. And we got a lot to focus on, a lot of improvement to do. So.
It's a little bit of a bummer because sometimes you get more accomplished. And I think this is very much not binary. I think this is week to week, season to season, team to team. But there are instances where you will hear teams say they get more accomplished in the practices than they do in a preseason game. Because in a practice, like with the Saints and the Chargers last week, you had ones against ones. You could see Jalen Ramsey running out there in the secondary. You could see Tyrann Mathieu trying to match up against a top receiver from the Chargers. You could see Trevor Penning going out there against a starter for the Chargers. You could flip that around, same thing. How did Isaiah Foskey do against some of their ones, or Peyton Turner? So sometimes you can get more out of the practice. I will also look and say, when you have really intense joint practices with your starters, do you really want to turn around and do that again the next week? So I'm really okay with them not doing it. The one bummer is I really would have liked to have seen C.J. Stroud. What would that have looked like against the Saints defense? I don't know that Stroud plays in this preseason game against New Orleans in the Dome on Saturday. Maybe he does, but I think it's one of those things where you very clearly, if you're the Texans, probably feel like you got to get all of your guys work and get C.J. Stroud as many reps as you can if he is ultimately going to end up being your starter in the regular season, which they haven't formally announced yet, but I would assume he will be. Davis Mills played this past weekend against Miami, was 10 of 22. Stroud was 7 of 12. So, I would just like to have seen C.J. Stroud, but it was and Stroud did start. Stroud did start against Miami this past week. So we'll see how ultimately that may go. And maybe we see Stroud in the Dome Saturday against the Saints. Maybe we don't, but that would have been the one thing I would have liked to have seen. More so, I'll tell you that from the Saints' perspective, I, this week, am most interested to see how Dennis Allen manages this third preseason game with respect to the guys that are trying to win a roster spot. I think there are very clearly identified, we would probably all agree on here, some guys and positions that you could identify and say that's where you're trying to figure out who's going to win a job. Like, I think very clearly, are you going to keep a fourth tight end? Is Jimmy Graham going to make this team? That's one. Are you going to keep an extra linebacker? You know who your top 3 guys are. Someone's going to win a job there as your 4th. Like, is Zach Bond going to be cut? Some of these veteran guys that have been hanging around, like a Zach Bond, I think Traquan Smith falls into this category as well. You look at your 2 starters at safety, you feel really good there. You know JT Gray's going to make the team, but like, what about Ugo Amadi, who's had a really good preseason? Do you have room for him? Your first 4 cornerbacks are set. Is there a spot for someone else at that position? That's where I'm interested in this final preseason game. Are you going to, you can't possibly run the risk of losing Jake Haener, by cutting him, trying to sign him to the practice squad, because he can get signed to anybody's active roster. If there's a team that likes him as a player and wants to keep him as a project and they're willing to sign him to the 53, you're not going to expose him. It's the same thing they did with Ian Book a few years ago. So if you're going to keep a 3rd quarterback on your 53, that's going to cost you a roster spot somewhere else. Where is that roster spot? That's what you're going to have to determine in this week, because, this is it. You're going to get to your 53-man cut down, and then you're into game week the following, when you're going to play on Thursday the 10th in the season, or on Sunday, of the season opener with Tennessee coming in. So, yes, I think it's a massive week for all those reasons, because the way that preseason used to be structured was where, you would kind of build toward that 3rd preseason game, which was kind of your dress rehearsal, and your starters would go a half or into the 3rd quarter. And then the 4th preseason game, nobody played. Well, now you only got 3 preseason games. So is this the one where nobody plays, or is this your dress rehearsal where you let your starters go out and extend a little bit? So we'll figure all of that out as this week moves along. I do want to talk about Jimmy Graham here for a quick second. Let me quickly remind you about our friends at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. I tell you all the time about hormone replacement therapy, and it's something, even if not just the therapy itself, going for the blood test is something that I would recommend anybody do it. I did it 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, just because if I was going to start endorsing them, I wanted to be able to know what I was talking about. So I had them run my blood labs, and turns out, living in a hospital for 9 months looking at my infant child was a highly stressful experience that aged me, physiologically. So I had completely depleted testosterone levels, hormone levels. You see, I always say, you ever look at pictures of presidents when their term starts and when their term ends? That's evidence of what stress does to a body. So we all age differently. And for me, hormone replacement therapy was a great option. It's affordable. I will candidly tell you, my treatment is $35 a week. And it's just a commitment that I've made to spend that to be able to feel great. So, but you'll never know until you have that blood lab done. So go for your blood labs. Let Dr. Howe look at your labs, look at all your levels of everything to say, where can we safely, affordably supplement you to get you to healthy levels to be feeling better? The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. All right, mention the Jimmy Graham situation. If you were following over the weekend, this was kind of it was a scary situation. We all woke up to the news that Jimmy Graham had been arrested Saturday. He was apparently disoriented. He was thought to be under the influence. And so police arrested Jimmy Graham. The Saints then released a statement saying that Jimmy Graham had a medical episode. It was reported that he had a seizure. We're waiting on an update there, but after the game on Sunday night, Dennis Allen was asked for an update on Jimmy Graham. Here's what he said.
Jimmy's with us. He's healthy. He'll have some more testing to go on. But, look, he's a little shook up, but yet overall, he's doing okay.
So I want to be completely and totally respectful and cautious with the Jimmy Graham situation, because anybody, and many of you have, maybe it's you personally or have someone you love in your family who's dealt with seizures, as was reported that Jimmy Graham had. My son has seizures. He's on seizure medicine, and when you're on neuromeds, that's anytime you're on any type of neuromeds, it's intense. Like anybody who's dealt with it understands what I'm saying. So I want to be very, very respectful and cautious not to overstep with regard to this conversation. The Saints released a statement saying that Jimmy Graham experienced a medical episode last evening, which resulted in him becoming disoriented. He was taken into custody by local authorities, transported to a local hospital for evaluation for what Dr. John Amos believes to be a likely seizure, and spent the night under medical supervision and testing. What caused that seizure? Has Jimmy Graham had seizures in the past? There's a lot of unknowns there that I'm not going to start to speculate on. Did he take a substance that caused the seizure? I don't know. Again, that's all questions and speculative, and we don't know the answers to. We might get an answer to. So, as I say, whenever there's stuff like this that pops up, there's always two parts of the conversation. There's the very real, very serious medical component, like real life component. You understand that, you put it in a box, you put it on the shelf, and acknowledge that exists. For the purposes of our conversation, we have to look at it through a football lens. Well, what does this mean for Jimmy Graham? Well, this might mean Jimmy Graham doesn't make the Saints. I don't know. I don't believe Jimmy Graham was a lock to make this team anyway. But now you throw on top of it seizure, arrest, all that sort of stuff. Is there a spot for Jimmy Graham on the 53-man roster? I think as much as that was already in question, I think it's further in question now as a result of all of that. So, and for me, listen, when Jimmy Graham was here the first time, I loved Jimmy Graham. I was the most giant Jimmy Graham fan because what he did for this offense under Sean Payton was such a valuable skill set. And it's something they tried to replicate with Kobe Fleener, with Ben Watson again, with Jared Cook, with Adam Troutman. Like, they finally seem to have found it now with Juwan Johnson. But they have been searching for 8 years for what he did in this offense before they traded him. So this isn't an anti-Jimmy Graham take. It's just he's 36. You have an abundance of talent at that position. One of your free agent acquisitions was Foster Moreau at that position. Juwan Johnson is a total stud at that position. Taysom Hill also plays that position. So do you really have room on this roster? Well, this episode further calls into question whether or not that's realistic. So as the Saints go to their final week of the preseason and get closer to 53-man roster cutdowns, clearly most important is that Jimmy Graham's healthy. But from a make this team conversation, this very much calls into question further his ability to do that. Massive week for Jimmy Graham if he's going to make this team, clearly. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll head to Oxford next, check in on the Rebs. Do they have a quarterback yet? We'll find out. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local, the things that I tell you every single day with Clegg's Nursery. But last week when I talked to Miss Teresa, as weird as it is because it's 100 degrees outside every day, 105 degrees, it's time to start thinking about fall. Because, I mean, today is August the 21st. It's almost September. It's time to go get Johnny Naylor seeds. It's time to start preparing those fall bedding plants, your fall vegetable gardens. They've got buckbusters and deer corn. Mo Bucks will be in shortly. So it's time to start preparing our minds and our gardens and our lawns for what's rapidly approaching, and that's fall. And they can get you ready at Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations, and be sure to tell them that Matt sent you in. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
We're getting a fall camp check-in with all of LSU's SEC opponents this year. Last week, we looked at Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas, Florida. We'll start off this week by heading to Oxford. Take a look at the Rebs. Our buddy Neal McCready from Rebel Grove is good enough to join us. Neal, how are you, man?
Matt, I'm great. Always good to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate the time. Do the Rebs have a quarterback yet?
I think it's Jackson Dart. They haven't said that out loud, but every single sign points towards that. He's had a pretty good camp, and Spencer Sanders is healthy, and I think he's pushed him at times. But just from the part we've seen and what people say, I'd be stunned if it's not Dart in the opener.
It's really surprising, man, that a guy like Sanders would leave to sit, but I guess stranger things have happened. We know Quinshon Judkins, preseason All-American. He's going to carry the ball, and he's going to be really good. Do they have guys emerging that are going to catch the ball?
Yeah, they have 2 or 3. I think it's still an area that they're probably not just thrilled with just yet, but I think they're happier with it today than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. Aiden Williams, the freshman out of Jackson that everybody recruited, has looked fantastic. He's been terrific. He might actually give them the deep threat that I'm not sure they thought they had going into camp. They really are high on Trey Harris, the Louisiana Tech transfer. He's definitely going to play a big role in that offense. Braylon Brown, a kid that had 1 catch last year. They were really sort of disappointed in him last year. The light appears to have come on. He's played well. Jalen Knox, who's missed the last couple of years because of injuries, Missouri transfer, has gotten through camp so far healthy, and he looks the part. So they've developed some bodies there. I don't know that they're as deep as they want to be, but closer.
I think most people just look at Lane and go, all right, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on offense. If you flip it over to defense, Pete Golding coming in, and, they got a lot of ground to make up there. How different are they going to be with Pete Golding calling the shots?
Well, it's going to be 4 down instead of 3 down. That's the big thing. I think they're going to be more aggressive. I don't think they're going to do as much of the, kind of bend but don't break philosophy that dominated the last couple of years. They're going to try to get to the quarterback more and be more disruptive. I emphasize the word try. I'm not sure that they've got the edge rusher that you really want to have in this league. Cedric Johnson's had his moments, and last year was good when he was healthy. He's had a hard time staying healthy a little bit last year. I think those are the basics of it. Look, I mean, this is going to be interesting to watch with Pete Golding because he obviously comes from Alabama. and he's coached studs at Alabama on defense. I think everybody around the SEC would admit that Alabama's been loaded on that side of the ball for a while now. There's no Will Anderson on this defense. There's no Dallas Turner on this defense. There might not be a Henry To'oTo'o on this defense. So his ability to adjust to different personnel in year one is going to be interesting. Now, he's recruiting really, really well, but those guys aren't going to be able to help him on defense this year. But that is absolutely – I agree with your assessment, by the way. Having covered Kiffin now for a few years, I'm just going to assume until it doesn't happen that they'll sort of figure it out on offense because they usually do. I'm really interested to see what the defense looks like. I think that will ultimately tell the tale whether this is a really good team or just an above-average team.
Neal McCready from Rebel Grove is with us. Is there a part or a position group, I should say, on the team that at this point in fall camp is better than maybe you thought they would be whenever they went out for day one?
Yeah, probably receiver. That's probably the first one. They're probably just better there. They look better than in the spring. I kind of thought they were in trouble at receiver. They're a little deeper at running back than they were. They've added a couple of pieces. That was a concern back in the spring. I think because of the emergence of Suntarine Perkins, a freshman that everybody recruited, I think they have a chance to be a little bit better at linebacker than maybe they were a year ago. That's a bit I'd pencil it. There's no area that they're worse at than I thought they would be, which is probably a good thing. I've covered a lot of Ole Miss teams, more Ole Miss teams than I probably care to think about. And this is one of the deeper ones in terms of talent. The question with it, and you're going to immediately know what I'm talking about, is does this team have that top end talent that separates? Is there a Mason Smith? Is there a Harold Perkins? Is it those kinds of guys? I'm convinced, having covered this league, and Matt, you might disagree completely. If you do, feel free. That what separates the 7 and 8 win teams from the 10 win teams is not depth; it's stars. You have to have the depth to get through the season and to get to 7 or 8 wins. It's the stars that win those close games.
I think in particular on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Which is usually where you do see the differentiation. So how is Ole Miss in the trenches looking?
Defensively, they're better than I thought they'd be. Again, I kind of question if they have that dominant guy that just eats blockers and is so disruptive. They've got some candidates there. J.J. Pegues, the Auburn transfer kid from here in Oxford, certainly looks the part sometimes. And then offensively, this was a really good run blocking team a year ago that was not the greatest pass blocking team in the world. It's the same 2 tackles. They're a year older. They're sophomores this year. Obviously, if you're going against Ole Miss, you see that film from a year ago, and you are going to try to stress those guys in pass rush. And how they fare remains to be seen.
He's Neal McCready from Rebel Grove. Last year, we looked at Ole Miss, and the beginning of that schedule was just very obvious to look and go, yeah, they're going to probably be undefeated when they come to Baton Rouge. And they were. It's completely different this year when you look at that brutal gauntlet. So walk me through this, Neal. What do we think all goes according to plan is realistic for Ole Miss, certainly in the first half of the schedule?
First half is brutal, man. I mean, they've got a stretch. This is what's interesting with this team. It's interesting with this program. And the fact that they are recruiting so differently right now for 2024 as opposed to what they did in 2022 and 2023 tells me a lot of things, including that it's really hard to build culture and chemistry when you're super reliant on the portal. And Ole Miss has been super reliant on the portal. More than 20 guys out of the transfer portal on defense alone out of this last portal cycle. Unbelievable.
Wow.
So here's what's interesting. They open with Mercer. They'll win that game. Then they get at Tulane. And I know a lot of national media people are hyping that thing up and talking about its potential upset and stuff. And no offense to the Green Wave, but I don't see it.
I agree.
And then they're going to beat Georgia Tech at home. I think Georgia Tech will be better than they were a year ago, but that won't particularly be all that challenging. So I think they're 3-0 when they go to Tuscaloosa. Anybody who goes, oh yeah, that's a W. I mean, you're not keeping up. That's going to be a very difficult assignment. And then a week later, LSU comes to Oxford. I don't know about you. Maybe you'll talk me down off this. I'm super high on the Tigers. Everything about their team, I look at it and go, that's the kind of team that competes for national championships if it stays healthy. And so let's just say for kicks and giggles that they lose both of those games. I mean, no shame, right? Alabama's an elite program, and LSU, I think, is going to be an elite team that's on its way back to being an elite program. After that, it's Arkansas. And so you've got an Arkansas team that will be KJ Jefferson's final game in his home state. It's an Arkansas team that in the last 2 years has put up 51 and 42 points, respectively, against Ole Miss. Sam Pittman's 2-1 against Lane Kiffin and is 1 play, a 2-point conversion away from being 3-0. That's the problem with that schedule, is that if Ole Miss, which is a team that is talking about winning championships and competing for the playoffs and stuff like that, if they're 3-2, that's out. You're not getting there from there. If that Arkansas game doesn't go the right way going into an open day, this thing gets weird. They got to go to Auburn. You may have heard about Hugh Freeze being the coach at Auburn. It's probably gonna make that game a little weird. They get Vanderbilt at home. They got Texas A&M at home. They still got to go to Georgia. They got to go to Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. I mean, there's a path for this thing getting squirrely. Now, the flip side is this is a team that is talented enough to beat an Alabama, to beat an LSU if you play a really perfect game. And if they win one of those games and then beat Arkansas and get to 5-1 at the turn, you start looking at that Georgia game in Athens as like, oh, that might be a tremendous opportunity. I think the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle because that's usually where the truth falls. But those are sort of your scenarios. There's a worst case scenario where this team goes 5-7. There's probably a best case scenario where this team goes 10-2. But like I said, I think the truth is in the middle, and Vegas agrees with me. This is a 7.5 win team.
He's Neal McCready on Twitter at Neal McCready, rebelgrove.com. Tigers and Rebs. We'll find that one out pretty early in the schedule. Neal, we always appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Matt, always good to be with you, my man.
All right, be well. It is after further review. You want to wager on that game, you can, on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Official sports betting partner of us here on AFR. College football is back, y'all. Week 0 is this weekend, man. Are you kidding me? We got football on Saturday. We've actually got SEC football, kind of, with Vanderbilt against Hawaii in a 28,000-seat stadium that's named after a bank now. But it doesn't matter because it's college football. It's college football, brother. It's back. Week 0 is this weekend. And, of course, DraftKings. You know the DraftKings Sportsbook has a great offer for you right now. New customers. How about this one? Score $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any college football bet. It can be week 0. It can be a futures bet. It can be a Heisman odds bet. It can be a money line play, a win totals play. It can be anything. $5 bet on any college football bet. And our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook will give new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's only, though, when you use the promo code Baton Rouge. So, if you've been on the fence, what are you waiting on? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on college football. And instantly, they will give you $200 in bonus bets only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Be sure to use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, y'all. It's after further review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here. One national media member has exposed himself as a noted, unabashed LSU homer. We'll talk about him next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Y'all, it is absolutely a seller's market right now in Baton Rouge. Typically, we have about 6 months worth of inventory on the market. Right now in Baton Rouge, it's about 3 months worth of inventory, meaning there isn't enough supply to meet the buyer's demands. It is a seller's market. If you are thinking about selling your home, why in the world would you call anyone other than the realtor that sells more homes than anyone? Darren James. I give you his cell number every day. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. It's Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
I tell you what, something we've known for a long time is that no good, low down, dirty Paul Feinbaum hates him some LSU. He ain't nothing but a no-good bammer, isn't he? Well, listen to what he had to say with McElroy and Kublik. I tell you, Feinbaum, he just ticks me off so much.
I thought they were the number 2 team in the West from the beginning, and I thought some of the media days hype was overdone. You can't talk about a team in the present by telling me what they did last year, and that's all I ever hear is, well, they beat Nick Saban. That doesn't matter anymore. It's really what they do it's what they can do against Florida State. And I'm pretty concerned about that game. I don't know how any legitimate person could feel confident going into that game. I mean, this to me looks like, a 10-2, 11-1 team. That's very good, but I don't. Right now, I have Alabama winning in Tuscaloosa, and I've heard nothing yet that would dissuade me from that.
So he poo-pooed LSU and then said they look like a 10-2, 11-1 team, right? I mean, like, when you just hate somebody, yeah, it's evidence of it there, right, Feinbaum? Boy, they just can't. I don't know. How can you possibly say that they would just beat them? They look like a 10-2, 11-1 team. So Paul Feinbaum, that no good. And you know what else Paul Feinbaum also said on that McElroy and Kublik show? He said he hasn't heard of anybody. I'll read you this quote. He said he hasn't heard of anybody outside of the Bayou who's sold on LSU. It's basically all just LSU homers. Well, I tell you what, Mr. Feinbaum, then I present to you an unabashed, unapologetic, undeniable, unrelenting LSU homer, none other than that purple and gold sunglasses wearing, neck singing, hand waving, four corner saluting Tiger fan Mark Schlabach. How about that? You knew about that, didn't you, Muse? Mark Schlabach, homer, LSU homer.
I know now.
Yeah. ESPN had Mark Schlabach make his predictions for all the conferences. Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC, Harold Perkins. Comeback Player of the Year in the SEC, Mason Smith. Coach of the Year in the SEC, Brian Kelly. I mean, who does this guy think he's kidding? You think I'm done, by the way, with the Mark Schlabach, unabashed homer, purple and gold? That purple and gold Kool-Aid guzzling Mark Schlabach? Non-conference game of the year, LSU Florida State in Orlando. Conference game of the year, LSU Alabama. I mean, can he? Hey, keep my team's name out your mouth, Schlabach. His three predictions for the SEC, he's got A&M's Bobby Petrino winning the Broyles Award. LSU beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. How about it? Right back at it, huh, Schlabach? Who do you think you're kidding, Schlabach? Deep down, we know you're nothing but a corn dog eating, tiger loving, purple and gold sunglasses wearing, neck singing LSU homer guy. Schlabach's got LSU winning the West at 11-1. Beating Bama. Got Alabama at 10-2. Now the Aggies at 9-3. 9-3. 5-3 in the league. Jimbo survive 9-3. Ole Miss 8-4. Mississippi State 7-5. Arkansas 6-6. Auburn 5-7. 1-7 in the conference. Obvious. Schlabach. LSU homer. Hates Auburn. Loves the Tigers. Unlike Feinbaum. The anti-Paul Feinbaum, Mark Schlabach. Hey, speaking of unapologetic LSU homers, we all know that's the truth about Ryan Clark and Marcus Spears. But congrats to our guys. If you missed the news early, thank you, Mish. You can kill. Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. I think they got the point. Congrats to Ryan Clark, Marcus Spears. Earlier today, it was announced that they are joining Monday Night Countdown on ESPN. LSU posted this video, which is one of my favorite things ever. It was from College Game Day a couple of years ago in Baton Rouge when RC and the Big Swagoo came onto the set, and they had a full-on brass band like following them in. Can you get audio on that, Paulie? I don't know if it's or Muse. I don't know if you can get the audio on it. It should be there, yeah? I mean, is this not the most LSU entrance ever? Louisiana entrance ever? This wasn't Game Day. This was SEC Nation.
Yeah, wasn't that Alabama last year?
This was SEC Nation on campus. And so Swagoo and RC are walking through the quad up to the SEC Nation set with a brass band following them up to the stage. RC's got a tambourine in his hand.
Cups in hand.
Now, but here's the thing about RC, which you probably don't know. RC ain't drinking. RC don't drink. So RC's got a tumbler. Yeah, he's got the cup in hand, right? Because you got to think you're gonna you got your cup, right?
Exactly. That's the point.
You have your drink in your cup. I mean, that's, for me, that's a whiskey. That's maybe a little tequila rock, something like that, depending on what the temperature's like outside. So RC's playing that tambourine like he's got something in the cup other than water. All we know, my dude has got water in that cup. 100% guarantee. RC was drinking nothing but like a little Pellegrino or something like that in that cup. A little smart water. I don't know. I don't know what his flavor might have been that day. But congrats, man. If you haven't heard the news, Monday Night Countdown, which Suzy Kolber was part of the layoffs at ESPN. Steve Young was part of the layoffs at ESPN. They had been a long-time part of Monday Night Countdown. So the new Monday Night Countdown crew, Scott Van Pelt is going to anchor Monday Night Countdown from, obviously, the location of Monday Night Football. They always do, on the field there. And Swagoo and RC and Booger McFarland are the Monday Night Football analysts. So you're going to have 3 former LSU Tigers on Monday Night Countdown. It's the LSU brand, y'all, is I know we've talked about it a ton, and I'm not trying to belabor the point, but, man, the LSU brand right now, Olivia Dunn and Paul Skeens, that's now public that they're dating. We all know, like, both Livy and Angel Reese were in SI swimsuit. Some of the biggest NIL influencers in college are all LSU athletes. The baseball team won a natty. The women's basketball team won a natty. The football team is preseason top 5. I mean, you got RC, Swagoo, and Booger that are all going to be on the set on Monday Night Countdown on ESPN. Just, it is a full-on great time to be an LSU Tiger. I mean, the brand is as strong or stronger than it's ever been. And hoping that this fall, man, everything lives up to the hype, both for purple and gold and for the black and gold. Because there's a lot of expectations around these parts, man. It's more fun this time of year when there are those expectations and people can live up to them. So, all right, it is After Further Review, man. Of course, speaking of RC, he's one of the partners over there at Traction, TractionSports.com. You roll through Traction on a given day, you'll see RC with his DB precision working with professional defensive backs, in the off season. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. I tell you all the time, man, if you're a parent and your son or daughter is, in a sport, you're in your off-season right now, you're wondering about off-season training, go to Traction. Traction offers memberships. It's small group training. So let's say your daughter's a volleyball player, your son is a lacrosse player or a baseball player, track and field, swimming, tennis, doesn't matter. Whatever sport, you can get sport-specific training for your son or daughter to get bigger, stronger, faster, more agile, whatever skill set they need for their specific sport. And when you join with one of those memberships, which is incredibly affordable, I couldn't even believe how you get unlimited sessions of small group training with the best trainers in the state, among the best in the country, at one of the best facilities in the country right here in Baton Rouge. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back, do a little Otter Locks. Jimmy will be here. Tell us what we're betting on tonight. See if he's got any early looks at Week 0 college football games. We'll get to that when we continue. Wrap up next with Otter Locks on AFR.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Remember, indoor window shutters now available over at Relief Windows. You want to beautify that interior? They can help you. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the often incomprehensible, the Oddfather himself, Jimmy Otter. Week 0, staring us straight in the face, man. How are you?
I love it. Love it, baby. Love it.
I know you do. So do I. So I can stop taking your awful baseball bets because the Del Mar curse has punched you in the nose again. So give me some football, Otter.
Last we spoke, I was at the scrimmage in West Feliciana, and we went 2-0. So, and I get this treatment.
Okay.
Is that right? I mean, really?
Yes, that's the treatment you get, of course. Well,
because
my name is Matt. It's nice to meet you.
You just missed me because I couldn't come on and scream in front of this, give baseball picks middle of a high school scrimmage. So no.
I did play your 4X bet Arizona game or whatever it was. I was like, why do you hate Rich Hill so much? But it worked. It worked. So I'm in.
Yeah, and he didn't pitch terrible in that game, but we did take care of business there. So tonight, the 24-game winning streak in preseason. This damn thing's going on 7 years. Enough is enough, John Harbaugh. I mean, my goodness.
No. Are you going with Washington?
Well, no Lamar Jackson tonight.
Okay.
The starter, right? He's
Wow.
out. The backup, Tyler Huntley. No Tyler Huntley.
Okay.
So we go to Josh Johnson. a bit of a journeyman. This is his 14th NFL team. He did play last week. He went 8 of 12 for 45 yards. And after him, Anthony Brown, who's not a very accomplished passer, the former Oregon Duck. Sam Howell may play a series, may not, but Jacoby Brissett will play, and Jake Fromm will play. Jacoby Brissett's got extensive starting experience with both the Colts and with the Browns, and Fromm not bad as far as a preseason. 75% of the tickets on the Baltimore Ravens, as they're an auto play for a lot of people, and rightfully so. But mysteriously, a 1.5 point favorite. Give me the Commandos. You ever go Commando?
Are you sure? I try not to whenever there's a zipper involved for very obvious reasons. But wait, so are we playing the Commanders? I'm looking at the Commanders +1. Are we taking this as a money line play, or are we taking the point?
I took it +1.5. So you can't end the tie. There were 2 this weekend.
Okay.
So that's the new rule. I mean, obviously if you go full 10-minute overtime in a regular season, but no, they stop it at a tie.
Okay.
It's at the end of regulation. So take the point.
How about it, Otter? Otter is maybe calling. So wait, are you picking the Commanders to win this game?
Yes, it's only a 1 point spread.
No, I get it. Okay, but you just laid out they haven't lost Baltimore's not lost a preseason game in 7 years. I mean, that's just a bold prediction. Okay, I'm interested now. I'm intrigued.
So if they hadn't lost one in 7 years, why are they won?
Yes, I'm with you. No, but it's just I'm intrigued. That's all. Your logic is very good. I'm with you. I made the bet. I'm with you.
Even the Musgroves can tell you Roto-Rooter. That stinks. Okay?
Okay, all right. All right, what's your baseball play?
1 minute remaining.
Right, the Seattle Mariners, and they just went and swept Houston. They're only 3 back. They're tied with the Astros, 3 back of the Texas Rangers. Again, they throw out a great pitcher, Castillo. How about Rodriguez, Matt? 21 hits last week. He had 4 straight games with at least 4 hits. They throw out a quality starter. Run line, though, only tonight. That juice is way too high at -198. But Castillo against our favorite guy to fade, Tuki Tucson of the White Sox. We're going with the Mariners -1.5, -120 on the south side.
All right, the Commanders in Monday Night Football and the Seattle Mariners on the run line tonight in Major League Baseball. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Dozy Place on Government Street.
Great steak in Baton Rouge. All right, Otter, thanks for the time. Have a great night.
See you, Matt.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Muse, Paulie, appreciate y'all. Have a great night. We'll see you for a Tuesday edition of AFR tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Paulie's back, and I'm fired up to have him here because Paulie went and got LASIK at the Williamson Eye Center. How was it, Paulie? Was it everything you thought it could be and more?
It was amazing.
Was the first day after was like, my eyes won't stop watering, and it feels like someone threw sand in my face?
Pretty much. I slept the whole day.
That's awesome. But how do you feel now?
I can see the world.
That is so
very
good.
Clearly.
How, little Jimmy Cliff, how did it feel when they sat you up on the table and you could look across the room and see the clock?
Well, I couldn't see anything because it was dark.
Okay.
They just brought me to another room.
Okay, good. Paulie had LASIK at the Williamson Eye Center last week. I had my LASIK coming up on my 5-year anniversary in a few weeks. September the 11th, actually, was the day that I had my LASIK done. I just could not recommend it highly enough. Anyone that's ever had LASIK will tell you the same thing. Best money I ever spent. Life-changing. Wish I had done it years ago. You will as well, but it starts with that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium.